So yeah, our boy used to be a full-on hermit, vanishing on everyone by smashing his phone and wiping every last social media account. Dude's got these freaky impulses to slice everyone out of his life, and even he can't figure out why. See, humans are walking contradictions. They'll endure the impossible just to keep living. But my guy straight up shattered the cycle by landing the absolute jackpot, a 10 billion yen lottery ticket. We're talking life-changing, major cash money. Pockets stuffed, he stormed out of that trash deer job and headed for the countryside, chasing his cottagecore farming dream like it was the whole point of life. But right when he finally started to get comfortable, bam, truck-kun strikes again, and he's tossed headfirst into an RPG-looking world with an ice-cold twist. He scouts the local plants, and boom, it's a giant harvest waiting to be taken. Dude's straight vibing, screaming, freedom smells good. He started out shook, but now he's feeling straight up op. He's not just talking. Lucky RNG gets yanked away with his whole chicken coop, all his farming gear, and even the chickens are laying fresh, edible eggs right there. With his tools in hand, he can hunt for wild plants, so at least he won't drop dead of starvation on day one. And since he's an ice guy, his mind instantly skips to magic and skills, like, of course it does. He strikes every cringe anime pose he can think of and screams off spell names like they're real, but not a single thing happens. Yeah, what a total loser. He finally snaps with an idea, shoves that weird-looking fruit into his mouth, and screams praise like he just discovered magic. And would you believe it? Yeah, it actually works. A system window blasts onto the screen for a Darun fruit that restores his stamina, and turns out his big talent is just appraisal. So he's basically a fancy merchant wearing a fighter's coat. The only catch is he has to literally stuff everything in his mouth to see what it does, and yeah, that's pretty sus. Suddenly a goblin pops out, and instead of panicking, our boy grins and starts taunting it, screaming, "Follow me, monster." He lures it straight into a trap he set. The goblin lunges forward, towering and vicious like it wants to tear everything apart. But the trap absolutely smashes it before it even gets close. He exhales like he's totally fine, acting cool even though that was way too close. In the blink of an eye, he levels up, and a shiny status window pops in, flashing his stats like a trophy. Turns out he's already used to this whole leveling grind. He hits level 3, but even he admits his stats are still kinda pathetic. Yeah, no kidding. He scans the dead mob, locks in, and confirms it's nothing special, just a run-of-the-mill green goblin from the Lancaster area. He yanks its weapon because, hey, free loot is free loot. Survival 101, baby. Back at his base, he dives straight into his Minecraft phase, snatching a flame stone and the polishing stone he'd already found. He grinds it all together, scrubs that goblin dagger to a shine, and cooks up some kind of flame agent. And boom, he's forged a fire dagger, and my guy is absolutely buzzing. Next, he whips up potions. He boils melanin, tosses in the virgin grass he scavenged, and keeps the brew going fast as the magic starts to wake up. And just like that, he cooked up a dual potion that basically heals it all. Mid-tier power, but insanely useful when you need it most. With nerves of steel, he decides to toy with some poisonous plants. Then it finally clicks, he has to taste that nasty poison brew he's about to swallow. Dude, what are you doing? And just like that, he gets slammed down and knocked out cold. He jolts awake looking pitiful, gnawing on some detox grass and realizing, oh no, he's been a total idiot all along because we've just been new. But hey, at least it paid off. He pulled a deadly toxin from it and coated his arrowheads. And then he plants roots like a mastermind, building his own tiny poison farm from the ground up. Then boom, one of his chickens chows down on the herbs and transforms into a herb chicken, and its meat boosts your stamina while flushing your system clean. He stares at this powered-up chicken, stunned, and then his face hardens as hungry eyes lock onto it. And somehow he absolutely cooked it anyway, so long Clark Norris, R.I.P. He's stuffing his face and grinning, basically bragging that knowing how to prep a chicken tastes this good. He even tells the cooked bird that its sacrifice won't be for nothing. This dude is seriously unhinged. He straight up carves out a grave for it, naming it Comrade's Grave, then decides to hit the town and sell off his loot. It's a brutal 3-hour hike, yet bro's still out here chasing cash like he's gotta make bank. He's already grumbling about every step and wishing he'd been given a horse instead. Finally, he bursts into Leicester Town at last. He rushes up to the guards to talk, but the second he opens his mouth, he realizes he can't understand a single word of the local language. Good news, everyone clocks that he's just a merchant, and they wave him through like they trust him. He's convinced he can get by without ever learning the language. As long as he's got the hand signs down for buy, sell, and the numbers, He's basically untouchable. He clocks an adventurer's guild and decides to swing by and check it out right then. Inside, he darts his eyes across the quest board, hunting for his next mission. He keeps grinding out basic harvest quests because, honestly, he can't really talk to anyone. He's sharp enough to dodge monster subjugation quests because pairing up with people who never communicate is basically a disaster waiting to explode. Our boy Keigo is playing it safe, like he's afraid to make the next move. Suddenly, this super cute merchant girl named Sarasa pops in, and right beside her, the beefy blacksmith Marugo. Both of them grin and say hello. Keigo thinks he's got a debt to these two, so he starts hawking the gear he crafted right to them. And they go absolutely nuts for his elemental weapons, practically ripping them out of each other's hands. He swears he'll deliver more, so everyone finally calms down. They hit him with a question, and the look on their faces screams, "So, are you finally moving to town?" He slams them with a brutal, icy no, right to their faces. My guy S got straight-up relationship problems, so when things get real, he's tempted to just disappear and ghost everyone. So yeah, he scrapes together a solid pile of cash, and then, boom, he decides the time is finally right to buy that horse. He whips out a total cheat move, scribbles in Japanese, then slams his appraisal skill into action to translate it on the spot onto a slate in the local language. Sure, it crawls, but it still gets the job done. Saracet is totally blown away, praising him as dependable, and the waifu gives her approval too. He holds up for a moment. Sarasa comes back riding a horse that's practically on turbo mode, blazing through the street like crazy. This girl is anything but a basic NPC. Now his ride back to the farm is gonna feel like a total breeze. He waves goodbye, then turns and sprints toward home. Then he realizes, oh no, they're trailing him in the most awkward way possible. Turns out they weren't trying to be mean at all. They were just being kind, telling him he needs stability and pushing him to find a great smith. But all this kindness is creeping him out. Turns out this guy S got a full-blown allergy to friendship. He just wants to vanish inside his cocoon and shut the whole world out. Still, he can't deny it. Those people were genuinely kind, and he felt it. It wasn't some boring business deal. It was something way bigger. It was something far bigger than that. He's torn up inside, trying to dodge every bond, even though it's the last thing he wants. But he flashes a smile, letting them know they're not wrong to worry about him. He tells you, we'll thank them properly later. And yeah, maybe this hermit isn't a lost cause after all. Guess what? Our guy just became the proud owner of a horse. He even built a whole stable, just to shelter his brand new ride, Renant. With Sarasa and Marugo egging him on, he tore his setup wide open, linking a smithy and a stable straight to his house. So now he's got a massive new space to crank out his craft. Back on his potion grind, he whips up a brand new recipe like it's the next step in his comeback. It's a Paruna detox potion. One sip wipes out mid-level poison and slams your MP back into place. The new smithy is a total game changer. Now he can finally crank out his insanely popular elemental weapons in bulk. But before anything else, he decides he's got to show Sarasa and Marugo a real, proper thanks. No half measures. He's about to whip up a real feast for them, way better than the stale, sad bread they've been stuck with back in town. He's gonna need enough meat for 3 people, but he refuses to give up his op-herb chickens. So the farmer grabs his gear and heads out to hunt. And would you look at that? This giant wolf monster literally drops straight into one of his traps. Talk about fate doing the heavy lifting. And bam, level up again. His stats are skyrocketing, and he's already picturing himself going full op way too soon. He shoots the beast a quick, sharp look, sizing it up in an instant. A blue wolf, yeah, the edible kind, shows up, and just like that, dinner's served. Since he's a total rookie at butchering, he drags the wolf straight to the guild to get the job done the right way. While he's stuck waiting, he swings back to the quest board and checks it one more time. He spots a kill quest targeting a cactus. He shrugs it off like, that's not my problem, until Dan, the receptionist, calls him over. Yo, my dude still can't make heads or tails of a single word Dan's saying, but then he hears Kai and just snaps to attention following Dan's lead. They finally stumble into Skill Dojo, where they meet an instructor named Kai, and our guy is about to learn a real, no-joke combat skill at last. He's straight up vibrating with excitement. He's been itching to learn some self-defense moves. Kai flexes his skill, and he looks absolutely badass doing it. He smashes the training dummy into nothing with a single blow. Talk about insane power. Now Keigo's got his moment. Let's see what he's about to pull off. His weapon starts to blaze with raw, unstoppable light, and he unleashes the attack like a thunderclap. He pulls off bash and grins like he's won the world, but the truth hits hard. That skill is hilariously weak. He hears that Kai teaches this basic skill to every brand new kid for free, because he's trying to slam the brutal death rate down, and this is basically the tutorial skill law. As he steps out, he drops the truth. Kai's bash was on a whole different level. He snatches up his butchered wolf meat, grinning because this means he's heading back to the guild to level up even more skills. On the trip back home, he's already fired up. He's planning to train with his brand new horse. But then he spots a terrifying goblin statue lurking in the woods. His mind snaps back to the Cacatra's quest poster, like a punch straight to the past. And he turns to see the real thing staring him down. He bolts, boom, the feast hits. My boy slaps a massive monster steak on the table, and the whole crew is drooling. He's like, yeah, it's just salt and garlic, while everyone else is straight up getting a spiritual awakening from the food. Look at them go, just chomping down, loving every bite, and making friends everywhere because good food changes everything, facts. Everyone's clinking glasses to Juno and the new girl, Sarasa, because they just helped nail the monster hunt and kick the workshop wide open. It's a full-blown party, cheers are exploding everywhere. But hold up, right when the celebration hits its peak, a brutal howl rips through the air. And it's not just one. There are 3 huge blue wolves rolling in together, and they look absolutely furious. The whole crew snaps tense in an instant, and one of them blurts out the million-dollar question. So the wolf we just devoured, was that part of their pack, you think? That big dude's itching for a fight and swears they'll throw hands if it comes to it. But our MC is acting like he's running on galaxy brain mode. He's trying to calm them down, like, chill, not every encounter has to turn into a boss battle. The squad's totally lost, but our guy won't budge. He's standing firm and screaming, nope, we're not fighting. Sarasa just keeps grinning, like he's either a tactical mastermind or a total coward playing it cool. But bro, his logic checks out. If you start pointless fights now, you're just setting off revenge quests later, and this isn't some average RPG where you can grind mobs with 0 consequences. He's trying to slash the risk fast, because in this world, the hunter you see today could be an EXP farm tomorrow. After that brutal close call, they all trade their last goodbyes right there. Our MC finally exhales when he's thanked them properly. He waves like crazy as their wagon rumbles away. He stares at his brand new plot of land, then rolls up his sleeves and starts working right away. All right, it's finally time for the ultimate Minecraft montage. He starts digging pit traps one by one, then drops a Bataroo flower right on top as a marker. Classic noob trap, except it's deadly here and it actually works. Then he dives into crafting, smashing out the exact shape for some kind of alarm system. He clicks the clapper shut, then sets it up right on the edge of his house like he's thinking 2 moves ahead. Next he plants those guild-bought ankle snares, piece by piece, so close to done. Bro's glowing like he just cracked the code to staying alive again, and honestly, caution is never optional, my guy. He even slaps up warning signs for his own traps, because he's smart enough to stop himself from walking right into one. Now that the outside defenses were handled, he grabs the leftover materials and upgrades the hut. First, he has to get his hands on a shield. He locks in and starts smashing every note, and you know that feeling, thought it'd be a grind, but the second you begin, you can't stop. He cranks out solid progress on his DIY shield, then shuts it down for the day. He's basically stealing space from the chicken coop. Still, at least he finally snagged a spot that's all his. Night drops fast and dinner time hits. On the menu tonight, blue wolf steak, and bro's sitting there eating the evidence like it's nothing. And since it's red meat, he's washing it down with sweet mirin wine. This survival guy is looking straight up shaky in the best way. He shoots off his thanks for the meal, then, right when he's about to take his first bite, bam, I will. He freezes in his tracks. Don't tell me those wolves from earlier are still holding a grudge over their missing cousin. Suddenly rustle. Then another trap snaps to life, goes off, and he snatches his gear, panicking. Did it catch one? He cracks open the door, and damn, something caught him. But there's still another one waiting right there at the door. All right, plain. First, he wipes out the guy trapped ahead of him. Then he yanks out his bow, fires a poison arrow straight into the campfire, and boom, now he's set up a flaming shot like it's genius-level strategy. So that's one knocked out, and I bet we've still got about 2 more tearing down the line. He sweeps the area with his eyes, but the streets are empty, no sign of them anywhere. He gets that nasty, something's wrong vibe, looks up, and boom, an ambush from the roof hits him and he gets absolutely wrecked. 2 wolves pounce down on him, and he's totally blindsided. But my boy snaps into action. He drives the shield forward and shoves one attacker back, then he thrusts in and stabs the other. The punch he threw sends the attacker flying back. Then it lunges again, only to step straight into one of his traps and gets totally outplayed. He slams his shield down, but the impact rips the handle clean off. Like, dude, you can't roll into a real fight with that trash deer DIY gear. Even with his gear falling apart, he refuses to back down. Adrenaline is blasting through his veins. The final one lunges forward, and it looks straight up demonic. He twists out of the strike, then lands one last slash, and it's finished. So tell me, what do you get for snagging a 1v3, ranking up, and watching every single stat explode with that juicy power boost? He crumples on the spot, totally wiped out after that fight. Lying there, he can't shake the thought. Write a will, no matter how many lives you've got, it still never feels like it's enough. But then he catches a tiny whimper, more of them all at once. He snaps his head toward the grass, and then it hits. Oh no. It's this tiny, fluffy, ridiculously adorable wolf puppy, and bro is going bad bad. The little guy darts up and yips furiously at his feet. Then it all slams into him, wolves tore into him, and the horrifying truth lands next. He's the one who killed this kid's parents. That guilt is not messing around, my guy. His brain hits a full-on meltdown. Power overloads everything until it just shuts down. But then he snaps into a decision. He's taking responsibility, no turning back. This kid is his now. He staggers back inside, cradling his new son. And that's how our lone survivor crashed out as a single dad, passed out on the floor with a fluffy little fluffball sprawled on his chest. The two of them just snored the night into silence. The very next day, Sarasa spots the puppy and instantly goes, "I've got to have you." But Ash the wolf shoots it down hard, telling her that puppy isn't for sale. Turns out hauling 3 dead wolves back to town felt like a full-on workout, so he called her and the whole crew to come help. He sinks a praise onto one of the fangs and suddenly realizes it can level up weapon quality. Score. Meanwhile, that tiny pup just keeps showering him with thank you licks, like, it's ridiculously cute. He explains it's a rare kind of wolf, half ass, and he's already decided he's keeping it. He knows it could get dangerous once it's grown, but he swears he'll take full responsibility. And if it ever turns into a threat, he'll deal with it, bro, just don't say any of that in front of the kid. He can't stop spiraling. What if it finds out he killed its parents and comes hunting for revenge? But if it's gonna happen, he'll meet it head-on, throw his whole heart into the fight. Survival of the fittest, baby. Then he hits Sarasa with a genius, a little dark, idea. Make the puppy a cloak stitched from its parents' fur. His logic is wild. He loves the color because it'll carry its parents, sent to comfort it, and somehow it's sweet and asterisk messed up at the same time. He sells the materials, starts to leave, then stops dead because he realizes he forgot one vital thing, a name. He stares at the pup, names him Ash, and boom. Keigo just found his first real family member in this wild, kill-or-be-killed survival life. Ash's new life as a single dad is pure chaos. He's already trying to tear up the farm and snack on the chickens. No time to sulk, my guy. You've got a kid to raise, and that means the days just kick off with the world's cutest little bundle of joy. And yep, Ash was covered in ashes again, and this time the mud clung to him too. And because scrubbing him with their tiny stash of water is a total headache, our MC snaps. Time to upgrade their whole quality of life. He grabs the leftover ingots and starts building himself a bathtub from scratch. The Gorman bathtub is finally finished. Yip. Bro's been trapped in sponge baths this whole time, and now he's absolutely fiending for one real, full soak. He straps Renant the horse to the wagon and rides off to haul back a whole bunch of water. He spots a calm-looking patch of peace by the river, and he can't believe a place this quiet even exists out here. The water hits like pure relief, ice cold, crisp, and insanely refreshing. You spot a bunch of weird hedgehog-looking animals, but you back off and keep your distance. Only thing that matters is staying safe. Then you sprint to find a clean water source. Back at home, he brags to Ash about what a total luxury it is to waste water like this, until Ash starts growling straight at the barrels. He's tightening his grip, instantly sensing something's off in the water. And right when he leans in to check, boom, something blasts out and smacks him straight in the face. It's this terrifying merman monster lurking under the water, totally hiding in the depths. Right before disaster hits, Ash shoots in and throws the beast off him just long enough to draw his bow and fire a poison arrow. Eat this. Ash dives in for the chump, and then our boy swoops in to finish it. Teamwork hits different, level up, and yeah, that was a nail-biter because of his brand new partner. He scrutinizes the body, confirming it's a monster merman that throws water magic. So that water bowl wasn't normal, it was a full-on magic attack. He also snatches a few merman scales, packed with water magic he can use for crafting, and then tells Ash, "I'd be dead right now if you hadn't pulled through." You're my partner. He hears that Ash give this tiny happy yip, and suddenly you can feel it. The bond is real. Later that night, it's finally bath time. My boy is so refined he's humming Beethoven's Fifth while he soaks in the tub. Ash kicks into a howl and goes, "Oh, so you're into the Fate Symphony, huh?" He knows he's gotta level up fast if he wants to protect his precious new fluffy son, because betting on traps is nothing but pure RNG. Every trip into town for supplies is a gamble, because danger is always waiting around the corner. Now that he realizes monsters can sling magic too, the whole game just got flipped on its head. If you want to survive, you don't just block. You strike first, so he better gear up and go on the offensive. He could have quit, sure, but when he looked at Ash, nah, giving up wasn't even on the table. He scoops the tiny fluff ball up and drags it into the bath with him. "I'm going to guard every peaceful day we share, with my life." Ash shudders himself dry, puffing up until he's a massive, floating cotton ball. He grabs a towel and starts drying him off, ready to jump into the next phase. Every time he slips into those ice guy clothes, reality punches him in the face. No more stressing over what to do, it's time to act. "All right, I gotta hype myself up. Today we're forging weapons." He starts by forging cheap iron ingots first. Yeah, the same grimy stuff he had used for the bathtub. Now that he's finally got the hang of it, he's ready to use the rare-ass wolf fang Ash handed him to forge a brand-new Riedel weapon. "Look, Ash, I poured everything into it, and the blade is finally done." He stares down his fresh masterpiece. The Wolverine sword, iron forged into a brutal blade and reinforced with steel, and the thing looks downright unstoppable. So what are we going to do with those merman scales? And that flame jewel he just tore out of the depths? He decides to go full demolition mode, smash them up and mix it all, like that's how the enchantment works. And you're seriously gonna taste test it too. He throws out a compliment, and suddenly his tongue starts tingling at the end. So you mix it all and boom, lightning sand. It sparks with electric power, which means toss water and fire together and you're basically summoning lightning itself. Elemental rules in this world are totally unhinged, but somehow it still works. Ash slips on some swagger shades while our MC grinds the Wolverine sword back to a razor shine, using that fresh magic sand. And bam, he's holding the Wolverine Thunder Sword, a steel blade packed with lightning power. And this absolute legend forged the ultimate weapon by pure accident. He's ready to turn it into his deadliest main weapon, while Ash snores peacefully right beside him. Next stop, time to hit the Adventurers Guild. He's decided to stop chasing magic from zero, and instead sharpen his archery and armor training until he's unbeatable. And on top of everything, he's gotta guard Ash. Yet if he's stuck firing poison arrows all the time, he can't even eat the monster meat he hunts. That's a total waste. And that's how he finally meets his new instructor, Kai, who's ready to teach him how to use a shield and a bow. Kai's a total beast. He's flexing his skills like he's daring the whole world to look away. He fires up an arrow, and it ignites with raw, unstoppable power. Keigo's jaw drops, but Kai grabs his hand and dares him to try it. And just like that, after one try, he lands a notification, and boom, he grabs the obtained charge arrow, the easiest skill unlock ever. Next up, shield training. Kai insists he's got to find the courage to land a hit on another person, because that's the only way to unlock the skills. So what's the training? Kai just starts pulverizing him, no mercy, like he's punching straight through steel. Keigo gets absolutely wrecked, but that fortress skill lesson, yeah, he just learned it the hard way. Training finished, he storms out of the guild with one goal: hit the road and grind. He bumps into Sarasa on his way out, looking like he just got finished wrestling a minotaur, like straight up. "So yeah, my dude, should you use potions while training?" "Yes, you absolutely should." But she's wearing the cloak Ash's parents had made for her, exactly the one he ordered, and it fits like a dream, turning into a precious memento of Ash. Then Sarasa spots his janky DIY shield and practically shoves it at him. "Here, take this small shield." She spotted his stuff wrecked right there and decided to patch him up. What a total waifu. And yeah, he's gonna buy it. She's been clinging to Ash nonstop, and our boy can't help but start feeling jealous. All right, time to bolt out of here and head home. They drop the goodbye bombs and split up again, just like that. Back home, he slips into the new cloak, and when he checks it, surprise hits. It has secret inner pockets built for style. Then it hits him. What if he could enchant defensive gear? He yanks out the leftover merman scales and lightning sand, ready to turn protection into power. He praises the cloak and boom, it's enchanted with a fire attribute. Then he mixes water and fire elements to forge instant fire resistance. And yeah, the logic's a little wild, but who cares? It's a massive upgrade. He decides to slap that same upgrade onto the new shield too. Ash fires back with attitude, and he's like, "Don't worry, Dad's got you." But the second puppy licks hit, all that tough energy crumbles fast. Lately, he's been hitting new discoveries left and right, unlocking fresh crafting secrets while learning more and more about who he really is. Training now blasts into his everyday routine, like it's carved into his life. But as he keeps practicing his archery, he suddenly senses it, thunder on the road, because a massive crowd on horseback is charging straight toward his house. A fancy noble strutted in, and with him came a whole squad of adventurers, ready to kick things off and... Wait, hold up. He spots them, and it hits him instantly. Marugo, Juno, and the whole crew from right at the beginning of the chapter. He has no clue what they're after, and deep down he knows this can't end well. So my dude is still trying to shake off that last near-death scare. And he's out there laying a flower on a grave like the final scene of a gut-punching sad movie. He's not even sad those randoms got wiped. He's just breathing easy because it wasn't him lying cold, bro. No cap. Then boom, flashback time. Just a few hours earlier, some armored jackass with a punchable face is trying to recruit Keigo for his dungeon party. Kei's like, "Nah, I'm good." But that big bald brute behind him fires off the intimidation card like, this isn't a request. Peer pressure hits different in this world. Turns out this fancy noble, Bayorun, wants our boy to be the party's dedicated potion sugar. Yeah, it's weird, but hey, plot my guy, plot. Next thing you know, they're dropped in the woods with an entire army of adventurers. And Kei's whipping his head around like this is all a film set. Bro, congrats, you're in the movie, and you're 100% the expendable extra. Suddenly, a hulking fire wolf from hell erupts out of nowhere and starts blasting everything in sight. That absolute menace of a noble, pure Chad energy, just lounges in the back like he's watching a pay-per-view, completely ignoring his allies getting demolished. And yeah, retreat is not happening today, boys. The entire squad gets absolutely wrecked, stumbling right into the chaos as this spicy doggo blasts them with flame breath. Keigo gets hit with a brutal dose of reality. Turns out this world runs the same trash-deer social pyramid as his old one, where the rich get to stay safe while the poor get absolutely smoked. Thank goodness, one of the tank guys slams down a fortress skill and throttles that beast's momentum, just enough to give them the opening to bolt out of there. You already know what comes next. Those guys GO, and they sprint so hard they're practically a blur. They barely claw their way out alive, and for all that trauma, what does our boy get? A level-up notification. Seriously, is this guy in an RPG? Oh, and to top it off, he learns the monster was a hellhound. Just as he thinks he's finally safe, the noble goons crash in and catch him busted. And they're all like, "Yeah, we know you're weak, scrub." Turns out breathing fire makes him stiff, and wow, they're telling him that a little late, aren't they? And Lord Baron is raging. He's not furious that they almost died, he's furious they ran away. Yikes. To prove he's serious about surviving, Keigo has to cough up a huge bag of cash. And here's the scary lesson. Nobles can be just as deadly as a level 50 monster. Right now, he's in the graveyard, staring like he can already see his own tombstone waiting among the fallen. He spots a little girl sobbing her heart out, the only one left grieving the fallen adventurers. This old dude slides right in and hits you with a brutal truth. When your life's dangling in the hands of some rich jerk, you don't get to waste time grieving for anybody else. He keeps firing facts at you. No matter if you're rubbing shoulders with nobles in town or hunting monsters out in the wild, you're doomed either way. Keigo decides he'd rather gamble with monsters than wrestle with annoying people. Yeah, that's the real introvert king energy. He knows they're probably calling him a full-on weirdo, but he straight up doesn't care one bit. Back in town, the adventurers who dragged him into that whole disaster scramble to apologize. But Keigo's social battery hits zero. He's basically like, "I'm done here, I gotta dip," and then bam, his HP tanks straight into critical fatigue crashes over him like a truck, and he just faceplants. Like, dude, you gotta manage your stamina bar. He jolts awake in a cozy bed, only for Ash, his sweet little fluffball, to lick his face like she owns the place. And he's totally lost, not a clue where he even is. Sarasa, the party girl, thrusts a drink into his hands, and he blurts dead ass, "This is poison." Before she even realizes she grabbed the wrong one, like what, you almost got him sent off on another Ice Guy disaster trip. Turns out he'd been out cold for 6 whole hours, and while he slept, they rushed to care for his animals and handled everything for him. He's honestly choked up clutching that tiny foxdog thing, and it hits him hard. He really owes them big time. They're surprisingly laid back, too, just like him, scrambling to survive one day at a time. After the last goodbye hits, everyone breaks off and heads their separate way. Keigo finally clocks that they were just an inn, and now he's frantically trying to figure out how to repay their kindness. First things first, stay as far away from that forest as you possibly can, because he's not trying to get absolutely wrecked and rolled by some new boss monster. Then it hits him. He remembers that strange green herb he just ate, and he slams his appraisal skill to check it. Turns out it's basically a fantasy roofie that knocks you out. A light bulb snaps on in his head. Anesthetic, he says, and you can practically hear the gears start grinding. Back at his base, he dives into action and gets right to work. He whips up a batch of green anesthetic medicine, planning to unleash it in his traps. Big brain plays right there. It works like a charm. One unlucky goblin gulps the spiked water and instantly starts tripping out hard. Meanwhile, Keigo downs his own fortress potions non-stop, grinding his skills hard, because he wants to be ready for whatever hits next. The goblin's brain is fried. He's completely dazed, stunned stiff. Keigo watches it stumble off, then goes, "Yo, thanks for being my little test subject, dude." During training, he clocks that the blue wolf attacks have suddenly vanished. Finally, some mercy, so he ruffles his pet's head with loud, happy head pats because that best boy earned it. With the path finally clear, he hammers out a whole batch of fire daggers to sell for coin. Time to score some dough. He's got smoked deer meat in hand and brand new shiny daggers ready to hit the market. He storms into Marugo's armory, hungry to pocket some cash and finally say thanks. That big dude wastes zero time and buys his elemental gear on the spot. Turns out elemental items are all the rage, and Keigo strolls off richer, pocketing a sweet profit. He's seconds away from handing Sarasa the rest. Then Marugo steps in, face stone cold, and declares he wants to buy literally everything. He's trying to swoop in and own the whole market for Keigo's merch. Kei drops a quick bet and reels him in, selling the whole lot like it's nothing, because easy money is easy money. To seal the deal, our boy showed up with some sake, and you already know Marugo is all about that life. That dude straight up shuts his shop down for the day just so he can get wasted. Absolute legend. Right then, Sarasa and Juno burst in, and that quiet solo drinking night instantly turns into a full-on party. They all clink their cups and dive into a monstrous feast like it's the best day of their lives. Sarasa sets out chicken and veggies, and Keigo freezes for a second. Like, wait, even plain chicken is brand new magic in this world. The yakitori-s screaming on the grill, sizzling like pure perfection, and it looks absolutely irresistible. As he takes a sip, Keigo stares into his cup and reels over every wild, crazy thing that's happened to him since he got here. But when he sees his new friends laughing and enjoying themselves, after he just barely dodged getting deleted, his nerves finally loosen. He tosses some meat to Ash, and you can practically see him think, "This is the most at ease I've felt in forever." They're all just hanging out under this giant moon, and there isn't a single city light anywhere in the sky. It's pure good vibes, just great food and even better company. The next morning, Keigo jolts awake with a killer sore back from crashing out in his carriage. He tells his fluffy buddy it's bath time, and next thing they're scrambling to fetch fresh water. He cranks the tub full, grinning like he's about to sink into the best long soak ever. Now that they've got the water, they sprint back toward home. But right as they're about to leave the river, a kaiju-sized snake monster erupts from the water, and the merm Naga gets dragged straight into it. Keigo's totally freaking out. This thing makes that merman from before look like a tiny little guppy. He and Ash hurl themselves beneath the carriage, praying this final boss-level threat doesn't spot them. But its roar keeps swelling louder and louder. The giant snake blasts out a bone-rattling roar that shakes everything around it. It fires off this brutal attack, and boom! A massive explosion erupts way out in the distance. Keigo can do nothing but stare in pure, shaking terror. Then it hits him he left his bathwater behind. Bro, your priorities are unhinged. He grabs hold of the truth, his life comes first, and he bolts like his survival depends on it. He slams the door shut behind him, and his heart is pounding like it's trying to break out. He and Ash drop under a stack of hay like lightning just struck, shaking like crazy. Nope, he's not fighting that thing, not a chance. He's straight up spiraling into a panic attack, not just because the monster's there, but because it's blocking him from his bath. This man is desperate for clean water, and it's painfully bad. A few days later, the boy is still rattled. He's fully convinced that if this were an RPG, he'd be the hero, but nah, reality hits hard. He's just a farmer. So he's not even gonna try to fight it. He's just gonna let it happen. He sprints to the Adventurers Guild and tries to explain the monster with a hilariously awful drawing. The guild master moves like a serpent, and KS got that same sketchy, probably vibe hanging in the air. Then he locks onto a quest posted on the board, take down a serpent, And yep, that's the one. He straight up pleads with anyone, please take the quest, just so he can finally feel safe again. He even flashes the prize, 5 gold coins, so yeah, someone step up and be the hero. Back home, he jumps straight into repairs. Because Survival 101, for once, isn't about winning battles, it's about not picking fights he can't afford. For the next few days, he hammers and builds a colossal mud wall around his property, collapsing in exhaustion every night. Still, at least he finally feels a little safer. When he finally returns to the guild, he learns the truth. Some adventurers actually killed that serpent. And even better, they tracked down his bathtub and brought it back like it was treasure. Because of course Elmau's final side quest reward is pure chaos glory. From this moment on, he's done. He's going to lean on the guild. Let the pros deal with the hellhounds and cacatrices. He's got farming to crush. At last, he can race back to his water source and finally earn that bath. And yeah, once again, a merman bursts out of the water and lunges at him, screaming at the top of his lungs. Still, he isn't scared because a merman's small fry. He's got a brand new toy to try, anesthesia arrows, and he lets one fly. Bull's right on target. The tranquilizer hits instantly, and the fishman drops cold out like a light. He checks his catch and goes, "This is actually edible." My man is about to turn his problems into dinner, so he hauls it back to town and drags it to a dismantler. The dismantler straight up declares mermen are basically walking fish sticks, then drills Kago in the basics of monster butchering. Boom, a whole new skill unlocked. He snags the scales and spends the time at the smithy, waiting for the anesthesia from his dinner to finally wear off. At the forge, a wild idea hits him. If he can forge a flame dagger, why not carve a water dagger too? He forges it with his own hands, and the system prompt flashes that it works. Then the dagger literally sweats out droplets of water across its blade. He takes a sip, just plain water at first. Then boom, he realizes it's an infinite water source and he's just forged himself a cheat item. No more risking his life on those monster-riddled river runs. This is his new lifeline. For bathing, for farming, for anything he needs. The man lines up an assembly line of daggers, letting every blade drip into a barrel, and then, finally, he sinks into the bath he's been craving. Later, he's tearing into some pan-fried merman like it's a feast made just for him. He swirls it with a glass of white wine, takes one honest taste, and admits it's surprisingly good. Fish and wine, who'd ever guess? He wrestles with himself for a split second. Does he risk hunting down luxury food, or does he stay safe and do nothing? The conclusion. He's got one problem. He needs cold cash to post quests at the guild, so now it's time to sell his brand new invention. He barrels into town and flashes his water dagger to his friends with a quick pitch. This thing makes water on command. Then he offers Marugo 2 and Sarasa 2. They snap into an argument right away because neither of them wants to stop. Marugo is yelling at the top of his lungs, and I'm grabbing 4. Things get so out of control that Ash the fluffball has to jump in, step between them, and force those 2 grown adults to settle it. Sarasa plays it cool and actually lets Marugo buy all of them this time. So the big guy lights up like he just won. As Kago watches, it hits him. He actually loves keeping life simple. And then Sarasa's voice echoes in his head, talking about her old job at a trading company. And because of the language barrier, she kept foreigners at arm's length. She never pushed into their personal space, and somehow that restraint worked like magic. Kago decides that's his move too. He's not about to dig into his new friends' lives. Marugo nods and says, "In this world, you don't need fancy words, just say what you mean." So Kago decides he'll only cram the bare minimum language. He needs to hold a simple conversation. He's all about that low-key, zero-pressure vibe. Just chill connections, no drama, no expectations. Back home, he starts tearing into the hellhound's spoils, unleashing a blazing, highly flammable sand that hardens and strengthens metal. After a few days of relentless grind, the world finally started moving. Bam, he just forged a hellhound buckler and a hellfire sword, and the new gear looks downright unreal. He challenges our boy to face that freaky fish lizard monster, yells, "Roar, hellfire sword." Like he's the main character and basically dares the whole universe to blink first. And it does absolutely nothing, straight up a total whiff. Man, that's gotta sting, right? He slams them with a solid bonk, then starts hyping himself up, swaggering like he can totally handle these mermen, no big deal, sure, Jan. Then my man just pulls a galaxy brain moment. Wait, fire doesn't work on water types, bro. Did you skip the tutorial? That's straight up Pokemon 101. So he ditches the brawl, slips away to grab some scales and mats instead. Yeah, he's chasing the loot. He knows he's not built to tangle with magic users, not without cracking the whole elemental RNG first. But then wham, he hears a massive commotion right behind him, and something huge is coming fast, dragging in like a monster. And bam, right out of nowhere, a giant serpent slithers into the scene. My guy freezes up instantly, trembling and screaming because he's convinced snakes are the scariest thing on Earth. Bro, you live in a fantasy world. Start acting like you expect this. Even that adorable fluffball, Ash, is going completely feral, barking its head off like crazy. That horse straight up snaps and bolts, then it just tears into itself and disappears, leaving our boy eating dust. Honestly, I don't even blame it. Our MC is curled into a ball, apologizing like it's his last breath. He's literally begging for forgiveness because the mermen were too easy, and now he's the one trapped in the mess. Bruh. He's cowering inside his tiny shed, begging the RNG gods that the giant danger noodle won't notice him. That's how shook he is. He won't snag a wink of sleep, and look at those eye bags. My guy is absolutely cooked with stress. The next day, he's practically groveling to the guild, hurling a bag of cash at them like serpent. Please help me. This is all I've got. While he waits for backup, he's putting his master plan into action, hauling out traps and setting them up all around his house. Yeah, because that's definitely going to stop a kaiju-sized snake. He's basically just betting everything on the other adventurers to haul him through. Back home, he starts whipping up some truly nasty poison, tossing a Badaru plant into the mix and pouring in a cacatris poison sac like it's going to ruin someone's whole day. Sounds spicy. And then this absolute genius decides, let me taste it, while his dog is losing its mind and he's just chugging poison like it's nothing. Like clockwork, he keels over, and his tiny doggo rushes in to fetch him water, because that little buddy is the real MVP of this whole mess. He jolts awake, scans the stats, and realizes that poison is strong, like strong enough that one lick nearly wiped him out. Tell me you're seeing this too. What do you think? He slaps Ash into the biggest all-hug ever for being the real MVP of this whole thing. So he storms into work, lays down his little traps and brews, praying his homemade poison makes that serpent flinch, just a little. Still stuck with that awful poison taste in his mouth, he just sits there, shaking with hope that the snake won't strike again tonight. Another sleepless night, and paranoia is clawing at my bones. Morning hits and he's totally out cold, mind and body are dead tired, but somehow he still has to go feed the animals. Ash barks again and the MC's stomach drops. He can feel something's wrong, so he has no choice but to go check it out and boom, the serpent is right there at his doorstep, staring him down like it owns the place. My boy's seconds away from a heart attack. All he can think is, yeah, I'm dead. He's already swallowed his fate, GG. But hold up, out of nowhere, a whole JRPG party crashes in. We're about to tank a mage waifu and drag a healer into the fight. Our boy's standing there totally stunned. The party dives straight into action, thanking him for the quest, and then they tear into that serpent like a war chant. The Chad tank barrels in and holds the line, while the witch hat, waifu, channels a massive spell right behind him. Meanwhile, our protagonist just sits there on the ground, gripping his dog tight, staring around like, wait, what's happening? He clocks it instantly. This battle is way beyond his level, so he slips back quietly and lets the pros take over. The serpent strikes with a lethal attack, and the party scrambles to dodge every hit or die trying. The mage is belting out a top-tier chant, and the power surging through the air is off the charts. Wind whips through the air, and magic crackles like lightning about to strike. And she blasts out a massive vortex of energy. The serpent gets completely obliterated. Blood sprays everywhere, and scales go flying like it never stood a chance. The crew's throwing down because they won, and our boy's finally exhaling like he dodged becoming snake food, and I'm saved. They synced up their attacks like a single unit and made it look effortless. Then they said their goodbyes and dipped, leaving my guy standing there like he had zero moves. He jolts awake in his bed, then stops, confused as hell. Wait, was I sleeping? He peeks outside and boom. It's an absolute disaster zone, so yeah, it wasn't a dream. Every trap and all that prep he did, completely useless. Turns out the line between life and death is paper thin, my dude. But he can't even hide it. He's just relieved as hell that he and his best boy, Ash, are still alive. Turns out the serpent was a massive deal at the guild. Marugo and Juno heard the news, rushed over to find him, and fretted hard because they were genuinely worried. They're so relieved he's alive that they yank him into giant all-bro hugs like they can't believe he's okay. But his peaceful time gets ripped apart. Guess he's never been used to anyone actually caring about him. He drops down and starts gently petting Ash. And then it hits him. Having friends who actually worry about him doesn't feel so bad after all, so is this character development. Because yeah, my guy might finally be changing. Hold up, switching POV to the real MVP? Ash. Yep, that Ash. She's a level 2 Ashu Wolf, and her growth rate is getting straight up nerfed because she's a rare drop. She's glued to her master's side, day or night, sleeping right by his feet even when the house goes quiet. She's crazy about meat, and every time her master hands her a bite, she swears it's the most delicious thing she's ever tasted. But they warned her to stay away from the chickens and horses' grass, and don't touch the earthworms either. So many rules, seriously, like damn. One time she tried to help her master hunt for worms, but he snapped at her to stop. Yet she's a good girl, and she won't cross that line again. She's obsessed with it. Her master drags her to every wild place imaginable. But then scary monsters lunge in, and she tries to chase them off with her tiny voice. Does it work? Nope, but she still gets head pats for the effort, and honestly, that's the real jackpot. She still remembers when her master's friends were going at it, and she rushed in to stop the fight before it got worse. And out of nowhere, Onsen lunged in, clamped onto her, and crushed her. Onsen, I can't breathe. And whenever the Onsen squeezes her, her master just turns his head like he can't stand it. She's baffled, but bro, Ash, he's down bad. He's down bad. She belts out songs with her master in a scorching hot bath, and every time they harmonize, he flashes a grin. Honestly, it's seriously wholesome. She can sprint like crazy, and she absolutely loves playing fetch with bones. And when she stomps that bone back, she gets showered with pats, totally worth it. Sometimes her master is painfully dense. He knocks out cold and forgets her water, so she has to drag his dumb butt back to reality. She even sees those terrifying threats closing in, but her master won't hear a word. She's screaming that the poison is deadly, yet he goes and licks it anyway. And then he drops, face first, into unconsciousness, forcing her to shield him at all costs. With that huge snake wrapped around them, fear hit him so hard he wouldn't let go of her. She tried to protect him and the horse, but he clung on with a death grip, gripping tighter and tighter. But even with all that fear in his bones, he's got a heart of gold. She's 100% sure, because they're glued together every single day. She's got ashes on her, standing by her master's side, and he leans in, wishing her a good night. Oh wow, that's just pure wholesome. So my guy and his crew are deep in the forest, grinding for resources, hoping they can score some supplies. But of course the RNG decides to bless him with a mini-boss, this bizarre bear-borer monstrosity. He goes like, yeah, I definitely wouldn't want to do this solo, and honestly that's perfect, because he's got his whole party riding with him. With the whole squad backing them up, they tear into the beast and end it fast. No contest, GG. But hold up, right when they're celebrating, a freakin' cackatrice pops out of nowhere, and boom. A legendary chicken snake demon named Keigo gets blindsided and flat-out knocked on his butt. Big man Marugo screams, formation change, and charges up to the tank shield ready to go like an absolute Chad. The cackatrice eyes flare bright, and you already know the signs. Those petrifying beams are headed straight for you, and this place is about to turn to stone. Marugo shoves a Paruna potion into Keigo's hands and yells, "Chug it now!" Keigo gulps it down at the exact right moment. While the big guy holds the line and Ash's magic wolf doggo rushes in for backup, Keigo finally gets his opening. They unleash a brutal pincer assault from both sides, trapping everything in between. Then they charge in and smash down the monster chicken until it's totally obliterated. And you know what that means? A fat stack of EXP hits, that glorious level-up screen erupts for him. Look at those stat gains, now we're talking. He's feeling that power surge, but the real hit. He knows he only cleared this because his crew had his back. That wholesome friendship power is unreal. It's all because his comrades had his back. Later, he bumps into the local waifu Sarasa, eyes frantic after the last serpent attack, and he quickly tells her he's totally fine. Then it's head first into business, trading goods like their lives depend on it. The whole crew is grinning like they just struck gold, proud of every ounce they hauled in, another win for the ice guy. When our MC finally writes back, he goes full philosopher like, dude, every single day in this world has been pure chaos. Back on Earth, he was just a corporate slave, drowning in paperwork and swallowed by work. Now that he's back on his own again, he can't help missing the wild, fun-filled moments he shared with his 3 comrades. He swears he loves the quiet life, but come on, my dudes is low-key lonely. He just wants one thing, to live free with nothing holding him back. But he's not clueless. He knows if a real boss like a dragon came for him, he'd get absolutely wrecked. He remembers he's got magic potential, but pulling it out from level 1 is gonna be brutal. No shortcuts, no easy mode, just pain. His tiny fox buddy is just vibing, Zero worries, no stress, not even a single care. Then Keigo hits you with a total brain blast. He finally realizes his real op powers aren't fighting at all. They're smithing and alchemy. Even guys like Marugo, the real-deal master craftsman, can't forge gear like the stuff he can cook up. He's locked out of healing magic, but he still whips up potions. Can't cast fire magic either, yet he straight up forges a blazing flame sword. It's all because his appraisal skill is busted, like a cheat code, and it's his fastest route to becoming op. At the end of the day, it's all about effort. This dude overthinks his new grind set so hard that he just keels over and passes out. The next day hits, and it's time to grab your bow. Archery training is about to go down. His sensei whips out a busted skill called Pierce. It lets an arrow phase straight through solid stuff like it's a total wall hack. This skill would wreck monsters, because rushing and head first would be the worst mistake you could make. Keigo finally clocks it. He's way better off grinding his bow skills than trying to learn magic from zero. He sharpens his focus, ready to go all in and grind. And bam, after a few practice runs, he nails the pop-up piercing shot, skill unlocked like it's nothing. Clap. He rockets to the guild to sign up for a subjugation quest. The guild master shrugs and says, "Yeah, these requests, I hear them all the time." So my boy's just doing the smart thing, spotting any nasty monsters lurking near his place and reporting them, no sweat, no wasted effort. And to top it off, Marugo hooks him up with a brand new bow. But Marugo's already smashing drinks at high noon, and Keigo has to haul him out of the shop before things get worse. He tells him, hey, don't drink every single day, and honestly, what a solid friend. Even so, he admits he's got zero right to judge or talk. Back in his workshop, he starts forging some next-level ammo, petrification arrows powered by the eyes from that caccatrice, true high-tier debuff gear. Out of nowhere, his dog flips out completely. He peeks out the window, and boom, it's the noble. That flamboyant mustachioed disaster isn't alone either. His whole crew has showed up right at his doorstep. He jabs a finger at him and basically barks, you come with me. Our boy tries to dodge it, dropping into a full dozer on the floor. But the noble won't let him have an inch of peace. The noble and his crew finally blast off, and Keigo's like, thank God my friends weren't here, because they would have been yanked into this whole nightmare. He thinks the whole thing is a joke, and he's just praying the poor adventurers stuck with him make it back alive. A little later, a massive commotion erupts somewhere nearby, and he can't ignore it. And guess what? Every last one of that noble's crew comes stumbling back, totally wrecked, like they got jumped by that woman and left with stone-cold faces, helpless losers. They tracked down the Paruna potions he handed them and slammed them back, one gulp after another. The entire squad is wrecked and bleeding, so much for that expedition. What a brutal flop. Our boy gets thrown into the chaos and ends up playing medic for all these dudes. He's relieved nobody actually died, but for real, what in the hell were they even doing? His shed has been ripped into a makeshift hospital, and the guilt hits him hard, because these adventurers are the ones paying for it all, and they're the real victims. The real culprit is that noble just relaxing inside. Keigo already knows he'll have to build this clown later. And yeah, while his men are starving and suffering, this dude is stuffing his face with a full-on feast. The nerve on that guy is unreal. You clueless nobles. The adventurers can't stop thanking Keigo after he patched them up and saved them. At last, the noble storms out, and the whole room goes death quiet as everyone prays he never returns. And in the blink of pure poetic justice, we watch the noble's prized horse freeze solid, petrified right before our eyes. So tell me, is it really Elmo who's the monster, or have they finally met their match? All right, plot twist. Now we're getting a side story, and it's all told through the eyes of that obnoxious noble Baron. This guy swagger walks through town like he's the gift the world can't live without. He can feel it. Monsters are spilling out of the forest dungeon. So, under the banner of noblesse oblige, he decides it's his responsibility to take it on. Except his very first attempt totally blew up in his face. Those pathetic adventurers couldn't even survive a single caccatrice, and their precious horse, Meltichin, got turned into a statue. He was so heartbroken, he sobbed himself to sleep for 3 straight days, swearing he'd finally rescue his stone-cold steed. Absolutely doomed for a horse, like astronomically bad. So what does this so-called great leader do? He shoves his clueless soldiers into prison for a whole week just because they failed him. Peak leadership right there. He calls it just another noble duty and bros straight up on a massive power trip. Then it hits him. Our boy comes back to mind, that eccentric guy who lives out past town. He still remembers how Keigo snapped his petrification symptoms away in an instant. Then told him he was useful like that was the best compliment ever. And the food Keigo cooked was straight-up mouth-watering. So his master plan is simple. Turn Keigo into his subordinate, storm the dungeon, and steal the glory for himself. He's pumping himself up, like he's about to step into the spotlight and become the hero. And yep, he's still leaning in and whispering sweet nothing to that poor horse statue. This dude is a full-on certified weirdo. Now we're jumping to Dan at the Guild Union, and trust me, he's having a rough go of it. That dungeon spillover is unleashing non-stop monster stampedes, and it's throwing the whole local economy into ruins. The guild's got one mission: back the adventurers who throw their lives on the line to stop this. But you can't go toe-to-toe with monsters when your stomach's empty. The quest rewards get wiped out here, because the guild budget is stretched so thin. And who's got the blame? You already know, the shockingly stingy nobles slashing their funding over and over again. Dan knows that if they just toss them better pay, those top-tier adventurers would jump in and fix it fast. Yet this noble is a total moron. This whole mess is hammering his skull and giving him a brutal headache. The guild's money is so drained it's downright humiliating. Then boom, this mysterious stranger shows up, and Keigo Okuda, our guy, starts dropping his own insanely lucrative subjugation requests, basically paying adventurers out of his own pocket to kick the whole thing off. Dan's sure there's more to this. He clocks Marugo and the whole crew, and it screams that Dan's got another trade running. But hey, he doesn't care how Keigo gets his money. He just knows he pays the guild well, so the guild treats him like a prized customer and keeps looking out for him. And yeah, the fight goes on. All right, the squads are finally back together, riding that victory high after telling that trashed noble to get lost. And surprise, Sarasa can actually hurl him back. Turns out girls can handle the liquor way better than our boys can handle social skills. Keigo scrambles to cover it all, finally sealing that noble saga for his fresh batch of recruits. But my dude was rattling off broken ice-sky lines like some kind of interpretive dancer, and he was convinced they didn't understand a damn word. But they're still laughing like crazy and soaking up the good times, so yeah, the vibes were absolutely perfect. Keigo's, man, my quiet life is toast, but honestly, he's not even mad about it. Next thing you know, every single person crumples out cold at his place. His shack instantly flips into a free-for-all adventure or a full-on hostile nightmare. Next morning, my man's already in full host mode, passing out water like it's life support to all his hungover friends. After sending them off with a wave, he dives right back into the daily grind. He's starting to realize his poison resistance is leveling up from all the random stuff he keeps licking. Like this man's got a death wish, for real. To prove me right, he snatches a fresh herb and boom, without a second thought, he goes straight in for a lick. Total mad lad energy. But this time, total bust, no shock, no paralysis, just a fresh minty taste. And my guy's actually crushed that it didn't just poison him instead. He swings in with expert precision. And when he checks it, it turns out to be nothing but marble herb, perfect for brewing tea, and he's already plotting to treat Sarasa, his waifu in training. And just like that, right in this brand new world, rain finally starts falling for the very first time. Man, this weather is begging to be turned into some serious blacksmithing, right? Inside, he's tinkering up brand new gear, and then it hits. He can bolt elemental enchantments onto anything, not just weapons, so he forges a fire arrow. Then he enchants some everyday board with water magic, turning it into something way crazier than it ever looked. This guy is about to blow up the entire squeegee industry, believing this weird side hustle of home gadgets will finally buy him a calm, quiet life while he sells to the locals. After the rain finally breaks, our boy just kicks back in the sunlight, letting the warmth hit his skin and feeling totally refreshed. But his peace and quiet gets absolutely wrecked the second he hears someone closing in. So how do you know it's the entire gang? And why do they look like they've just seen a ghost? Keigo's eyes widen like, oh no, not again. The second he hears that clown noble's name, Bayerun, his soul basically flies right out of his body. Turns out the guild master just nominated Keigo and the serpent-slaying crew for yet another mission with the noble, and honestly, big yikes. Everyone's scratching their heads like, why is this guy so freaking obsessed with clearing the dungeon? Turns out the monster overflow is getting totally out of control, so they'd better handle it now, because ignoring it would only make things worse for everyone. But the commander, no joke, is a total incompetence disaster, so now they're stuck hauling a complete rookie through a top-tier raid. Keigo's down bad and desperate, but there's no time to sulk, so he starts gearing up for what's coming. The day of the raid finally hits, and the guild master steps up, speaking like the fate of everyone depends on it. He drags Keigo off to the side, and our girl Sarasa slips him a ridiculously expensive poison-resistance bracelet. She's got her boys back. With that, they plunge into the forest dungeon. Yet Keigo can still feel the guild master's hopeful stare pinned to him, and the pressure hits like a hammer. They grit their teeth, trying to stay calm, reminding themselves like, this time we've got real heavy hitters in play. They somehow reach the dungeon entrance with 0 fights. No scraps, no chaos, just pure what are you hiding? Energy. And just like that, this massive boss monster blasts out of nowhere, ready to rumble. That noble with pure infinite brain energy just erupts, charge, straight into full-on Leroy Jenkins mode. The entire battlefield detonates into pure chaos. The veteran adventurers are holding the line, slicing and dicing with the confidence of absolute pros. Keigo nearly gets flattened out of existence, then snaps back, oh right, his real job is to support. He slams his class into healer mode and darts through the chaos, tossing potions to the frontliners with every heartbeat. Everyone's going all in, but it still doesn't cut it. Keigo blows through the last of the healing items, and the party is hanging on by a thread. Meanwhile, the noble is still stuck there in a heated back and forth with his advisor, doing nothing, refusing to make the call. At last, the coward panics and orders a total retreat. So yeah, it turns out the mission was a total disaster. They got wiped out hard, even with the town's strongest fighters backing them up. Everyone already knows the next wave of dungeon monsters is gonna hit harder and be way more op. That loss stings like a punch to the gut, and Keigo can't ignore it. His fist tightens as the truth hits. He needs a brutal power-up now. Back at the farm, Ash beams when he sees him, and Sarasa's already set up a full-on feast. Like, that's peak waifu material right there. A boy shoots her a heartfelt thank you, and the entire squad just clicks instantly. Everything feels good in the best way. They're stuffing their faces, clinking drinks and bonding hard over that shared. That night, Keigo finally brews his potion. But when he turns around, everyone's already face-planted in his smithing room again. He lets out a heavy sigh and drops right into that floor-cuddle puddle. He jolts awake to the guild master standing at his door, who slams a heavy bag of gold into his hands as a thank you for every potion he'd supplied. The letter slams down the truth. It's a whole fat stack of coins, and that kid is loaded. He's cashing out the payout for Marugo, and Juno too. Right before he steps out, the guild master takes a few sips of Keigo's tea, and you can practically see the stress of wrangling that noble turning his hair gray on the spot. After the big boss disappears for good, the crew throws a wild consolation party to celebrate anyway. But Keigo catches it. Juno's face is so crushed with sadness it practically screams. Later, just after that feel-good montage of them stuffing their faces again, a kid named Keigo decides he has to learn magic, because he watched a wind user absolutely clap the serpent, and now he's chasing that op power like it's his destiny. He dashes straight to the guild and demands wind magic training right then. They shove him to a brutal hardcore instructor, Han Sensei, an all-out black magic user with a freaking artificial eye. The sensei just snaps his fingers and casually whips up a massive wind vortex, total Chadmo. Keigo tries to mimic him, and only manages a sad little puff of air. After half a day of grinding, he finally pops the wind skill. Weak as hell, yeah, but it's a start, and you can feel the momentum rising. Back at the farm, he hammers away at his new skill while Ash just sits there like a fluffy windsock, taking it all in. Suddenly, a gigantic blue wolf charges into one of his traps and gets caught instantly. But before he can even move, Ash barrels up to it and bam, reveals it's one of Ash's own relatives. Ash basically tells the big wolf, scram, and the thing actually listens. Later, Keigo hits a mind-blowing idea and turns his magic into a personal hairdryer. Big brain plays right there. Then it hits him. He never thanked Sarasa for that bracelet, so he decides to drag Juno along and go shopping for a real thank you gift. He spots Juno in the local inn. She looks totally wrecked like she's been through hell. Keigo whips out his writing board and asks Juno, "Wanna help me find a gift for Sarasa?" Juno nods, and the two bros dive out together. Keigo can't make heads or tails of their language, but he gets one thing instantly. Sometimes people don't want advice, they just want someone who will listen. They finally manage to hand Sarasa a gorgeous bouquet, and her face lights up, pure joy. Juno shoots Keigo a heartfelt thank you, and you can practically see their bond crank up to a whole new level. Back home, Keigo trains his magic, and it feels way stronger now, so when he blasts a gust of wind, it accidentally knocks his friends flat. That night, the whole crew barrels into his place again, because at this point, it's not even special anymore. Just another Tuesday. But our boy can't sleep. His whole world caves in, and an existential crisis hits him hard. He remembers his old life, how he vanished on everyone and craved nothing but a lonely hermit's life. He dodged every single human he could, like contact itself would burn him. But then it hits him. Loneliness isn't just empty, it's its own brutal kind of hell. He stares at his friends passed out on the floor, and it hits him. This is real, something he's been missing. He finally finds peace in his brand new life. Next morning, he's raring to start the day. Then boom, the entire noble's entourage is camped outside his damn house again. The noble is back, and this time he's begging to run the dungeon again with the exact same party that face-planted last time, basically screaming definition of insanity right into our faces. The noble whips his finger straight at Keigo. You're Keigo. He shoots out and clamps his hand on our boy's shoulder, and his hand detonates in a brutal spray of blood. Everyone, yes, even Keigo, is completely stuck, frozen in mind. What the actual fudge just happened? All right, so Keigo is stuck right in the middle of a war zone, and he's not feeling it at all. The entire squad is getting wiped out in one brutal sweep. Everyone's screaming, and the whole place is a total disaster. And what's our MC doing? He froze dead in his tracks, legs turning into jelly, straight up bricked with fear. He ducks behind his tiny shield. Trina swoops in to comfort some girl like nothing's wrong, while my guy is falling apart and he knows it. He just hides like a turtle and turns completely useless. Turns out the big bad isn't just some monster. It's a full-on dragon, lounging in the sky like it owns the world, staring down at the chaos it unleashed. Then out of nowhere the dragon dips and some random guy blurts, "Are we saved?" But my boy Keigo is still rattled. His buddy shoots him a look, and Kei just waves it off like, "I'm fine, but..." And then bam, he drops the classic shonen crisis, and I couldn't do a damn thing. Straight up, you got absolutely wrecked everywhere, my guy. So what's his genius move to make up for everything? He becomes the camp cook. No kidding, whips up stew for the whole crew, convinced this is his shot at a real redemption. He's dishing out steaming bowls to every battered adventurer who's barely standing. Even the high and mighty nobles are giving his food the side-eye. An insanely awkward tension hangs in the air, like everybody's stuck in the worst moment ever. Good news, RNG basically blessed them, no one actually died. But yeah, that guy's arm, it's totally, irrevocably gone. Next day, and our boy is still soaked in blood and drowning in regret. Meanwhile, back at the guild, they're slamming the bounty for the dragon higher by the second. They decide more money will lure real adventurers, and cause Keigo already knows it. If that thing shows up again, he's getting one-shotted, no debate, no questions. To make it even worse, a spooky fog creeps in, and that is never a good sign. Our boy is so freaked out he can't even relax. He's flinching at shadows while he's in the bath. He knows that dragon will turn him into dead meat, so he makes the only smart move. He grabs a drawing book and starts sketching with his little fox buddy to steady his nerves. Peak coping mechanism. He drags himself through an all-nighter, trembling so hard his boots might jump right off his feet. Suddenly, bam, there's a knock at the door and it almost knocks the life out of him. He cracks it open, and there are Marugo and Juno, chilling like they don't have a care in the world. They shove a quest poster for the lesser dragon in front of him, and he's completely lost. Then the bomb drops. Turns out some other top-tier chads already smoked the dragon in another town. So yeah, the crisis is finally over. Keigo finally lets out a breath of relief, until they hear a thunderous asterisk thud come from somewhere nearby. My dude is about to spiral into another panic attack. But nah, he's fighting a losing battle while his friends just clown him non-stop for being so jumpy. Now the danger's gone, and my boy's got his stomach screaming for food. So of course they shove him into the butcher's roll again, cut up the cow, cook it up, and feed everyone like it's his job now. Yep, bro's officially the party's designated chef. As the fog finally lifts, they smash into an absolute feast like it's the best day of their lives. We're talking a full-blown beef bowl straight up. Look at that, it's absolutely bussin'. Everyone's diving into food like it's a feast, and suddenly the whole place erupts into a massive party. Just a crew of bros letting loose, clinking drinks, belting songs, and laughing under the glowing stars. Even that tiny little fox is yowling at the top of its lungs. They get completely smashed, stumble around, and pass out hard in a tangled heap. The next morning hits, and that hangover is absolutely wrecking him. But Keigo suddenly gets hit with this sweet, wholesome realization. These guys aren't just allies, they're his best friends. And right when things start to look good, he almost vomits his guts out, because the hangover antidote totally flopped. He tosses together another batch of herbs, and this time it totally works. Feeling way better, he rallies his buddies and drags them out to hunt herbs with him, because potions never run out in this world. So the whole squad charges into the deadly forest, no backing out. Kei couldn't help it. This friendship energy had him glowing inside. Right out in the wild, they get ambushed and tackled by a pack of blue wolves. Keigo yanks out his bow and hammers a shot from the side, dropping one in a blink. He never even tried to steal the kill, but boom, he still levels up, and every single one of his stats gets a juicy power boost. Let's go. But yeah, the fun can't last, because his friends are packing up and leaving town. They finally wave their goodbyes, and just like that, Keigo is thrown back into the loneliness all alone again. And then, no warning, the tears hit like a storm. Bro just breaks down, totally crushed by loneliness. Once he gets a taste of friendship, he realizes being alone doesn't just feel empty, it hits totally different. The room is so silent it screams, and my guy is completely down bad. He's spiraling into a full-on emotional meltdown, and it's getting ugly fast. The next morning hits, and he jolts awake feeling absolutely wrecked. My dudes got nailed with a fever, like their bodies just lit up from the inside. But the grind never lets up. He keeps pushing, forcing himself back up just to prep the food. Then boom, he drops instantly, and yeah, burnout is dead real fam. His body finally hit the wall. Now we flip the spotlight to the guild master, Shiraku, and this whole chat is about Baron, a trash-deer noble who keeps firing off adventurers like they're disposable, straight into death missions. Bayer is so obsessed with wiping out that cackatrice that he refuses every bit of reason, and he won't even let the guild master form a real team. Shiraku locks in on the only squad that can handle the job, Marugo's crew, and then yells out to Keigo for his cracked op healing, because his work stopped a single death during the dragon attack. But listen, Baron only threw down a measly 5 gold coins for the whole dragon-slaying ordeal. The strain of dealing with this clown is so brutal it's frying the guild master's hair right off, like it's happening in real time. Then karma slams in like a wrecking ball. Right on cue, the lesser dragon appears and yeets Baron's arm clean off. After that, Baron snaps into a full-on shut-in, trauma wrecks him, and he locks himself in his room to hide. His son Heinrich, surprisingly competent, gets forced to step in and take over. Baron's losing it. PTSD is eating at him. Paranoia won't leave him alone, and he even shoved his petrified horse into his room for emotional backup. He's at rock bottom, convinced everyone despises him, and all he wants is to vanish into thin air. Then the guild master cracks the puzzle, and somehow cures his petrified horse for real. Seeing Melty-chan, his horse, alive again, that shocks Bayer right out of his redemption run. He starts taking baby steps, and for the first time, a spark of hope flickers in his chest. He finally gets it, the hurt he unleashed on everyone, and now he's ready to go back and sock his past self right in the face. He watches his son run the town's affairs, and the truth hits him hard. He was never meant to rule. In a massive leap forward, he steels himself, hunts down his son, and delivers a heartfelt, gut-wrenching apology. He finally got humbled in the most unforgettable way. He finally gets it. He has to apologize to everyone he's hurt, and even the adventure he dumped into jail. His son pulls off a crazy 5D chess move, locking his dad in a power position, so he can finally face his mistakes and stay from slipping back into a relapse. So Baron, finally humbled, kicks off a citywide apology run, determined to set everything right. With his new guard, Tony, riding shotgun, he sets off on a no-turning-back quest to atone. His redemption arc is officially in motion now. So our boy S getting walloped by a gnarly fever dream. Then bam, it flashes back to the time his mom took care of him. And suddenly, this wholesome memory hits like a clean win. He's sprawled out, knocked out cold, lost in dreams of the good old days. At last, he snaps back to reality, checks his temperature, and the fever's gone. Phew, he barely made it. Turns out my dude pushed himself way too far, burnt out hard, got laid up for a few days, and now he's gotta learn that self-care isn't optional. And what's the first thing he does? He rushes over and apologizes to his chickens for skipping their breakfast. Bro, they're chickens, they'll survive. Luckily, his tiny potion shop stayed empty, so his approval rating didn't plummet while he was AFK. But nah, this dude was spiraling into a full-on existential meltdown, convinced he was about to get wiped from the server all by himself. Pure sad boy doom right there. He's spiraling, picturing his mom on Earth sobbing, convinced he's dead. Bro, breathe, you're only wrecking yourself more. He calls himself useless. Then bam, he snaps back into that Sigma grind set and decides to start brewing potions like his whole life depends on it, I swear. Right when he's wallowing in his mood, his boy Juno rolls up out of nowhere like a plot twist. Juno's pushing him to jump into a subjugation quest, but the MC snaps back. Whoa, hold up, I just crawled out of a fever. I'm not ready to get wrecked on a dungeon crawl. Juno flashes him something on the board. Looks like a quest clue, or at least the start of one. Juno leans in and tells our guy to see a doctor, because potions can't touch fever. Good save, bro. That night, Juno finally comes back from his quest, and boom, he finds it. My guy, S been whipping up a potion storm like there's no tomorrow, making tons of them. He shoves a whole crate of the good stuff into Juno's hands, and Juno just stares, stunned out of his mind. This isn't "I came back for rations" at all. He came back for his friend. MC tells him to crash for the night. They seal it with a solid fist bump, and boom, romance level just skyrocketed. They're just laid back under the moonlight, spilling their hearts in this deep, honest talk, and it's so peaceful. You know what hits different? Having a real one beside you changes everything. Dude's getting all teary and heartfelt, because in his darkest hour, you're the one who showed up as his friend. Juno drops a bombshell. Turns out a whole chunk of the town is sick too, so MC isn't the only one laid out and struggling. Hearing that, Keigo snaps out of his spoiled act and dives into bed, finally cashing in on a real good night's sleep. The next morning, he's wide awake and pumped to train, until someone calls out to him and throws a wrench in his plans. Oh snap, talk about perfect timing. Here comes that idiot Noble and his crew, and MC's already got this look like, nah, not again, because they're about to kick off trouble. But wait, hold up. Did the Noble just apologize? What alternate timeline did we accidentally fall into? Then this dude slams down a bag so heavy it practically drags the floor, packed with gold coins, like 500 at minimum. Payment so massive it's basically a "sorry, I was trash" bribe. It looks like that Noble did a total 180 and flipped his whole mindset for real. You can't help but love seeing that character development. Now that the Noble's looming threat is finally wiped away, MC wastes no time. He invites them over for a meal to bury the hatchet for good. And these guys are absolutely demolishing that food like they haven't eaten in weeks. MC just watches in silence like, wait, those chomping faces look weirdly familiar. The guard tells Tony the Noble's son is running the place now. And while the MC was sick, chaos erupted across town. The MC slams down the main event, an entire roast rabbit, straight up like it belongs at a Noble's table. The dude straight up starts bawling happy tears over that food, and yeah, our MC's cooking is straight up op. They start brawling over the food like total kids, while the little fox just chills and rides the vibe. Tony has to haul the Noble away by force while the guy keeps screaming about eating his veggies. What a wild scene. The MC muscles the food to the drunk Nobles inside, dumping them in for their crash. The very next morning, he ushers them off, and they're still absolutely shattered from that feast. Now that they've got a fat stack of gold in their hands, our boys have to scramble to figure out how to spend it. First stop, town. He's done living in a glorified chicken coop, and he's ready to hire craftsmen to lay down stone walls and build himself a real house. And just like that, boom, a deal's locked in and the base upgrade is officially a go. He whips out the entire crew, Sarasa the doctor, and every single person who's ever backed him up. He vows that once the job's finished, he'll fire up the smoker and bring smoked meat straight to the craftsmen, because that's the kind of man who actually belongs with the people. He's done running solo. Now he's got an entire crew at his back, ready to back him up. A few days later, the whole place is finished. Boom. A protective wall, a living room, a bedroom, the full setup, end to end. Behold, his new base is basically a fortress. He's calling it his castle, and yeah, it's a full-on glow-up. He's praying the new walls finally block those pesky flying lizards from spotting him as their next walking snack. As the craftsmen pack up and walk out, he pours out a real, heartfelt thank you that hits straight from the heart. Right then, Marugo bursts in, demanding Sarasa, only for someone to hit him with, nah, she's not here, and then turning it into a moment like, but you showed up at the perfect time, want to grab a drink. Marugo bolts from Sarah's advances like she's chasing him with fire, but MC just shrugs it off. No big drama, no big deal. The boys clink their cups and celebrate the new castle finally being finished. All right, let's go. They go full blackout drunk. Marugo starts yelling for this girl named Isabel, and bro is down bad hard. They collapse on the floor like two lost, powerless adults. Classic. The very next morning, MC jolts awake nursing a brutal hangover, while his fluffy companion looks at him like, yeah, good luck. And boom, right there in a blink, the Noble's son flashes a fancy water dagger, and I'm like, yep, gotta remember that for later. Our boy finally kicks back on a well-earned break, just lounging in the open field and soaking it all in. Now he's kicking back in full lazy mode, living the good-for-nothing life. Ever since those new stone walls went up, he feels locked in. So safe he can't find the drive to work anymore, and his motivation has hit rock bottom. He finally landed his dream, sleeping and waking whenever he wants, and living the life he's always wanted. Night drops, and he jolts awake way before dawn like something calling him out of his sleep. The whole world has gone dead quiet, no birds, no rustling, even the animals are still asleep. Just him and the silence pressing in. He's sinking into this rare, quiet peace like the world finally stopped. He lands at just the right moment, clears his head, and starts sorting out the chaos in his thoughts. He starts playing Cupid in his own head, convinced Juno is totally crushing on Sarasa. But Sarasa's staring at Marugo like he's trouble. So Marugo figures Juno has basically thrown in the towel on that ship. Marugo can't possibly slip away from the women in town. But every time they close in, he's already dodging Sarasa's super aggressive attempts at affection. And yeah, the love dodecahedron is a mess of complicated. Our boy hits a rough patch, staring at his goals like they're miles away and feeling the distance crush his spirit. He dives back into the days of the old noble, Bayer Unsama, and wonders if that missing arm was the spark that flipped his whole personality into something bigger. That apology gold basically bought these killer walls, so the MC clamps down on his grudge and lets it go, pure Chad behavior. Forget it, let it go, that water's already gone under the bridge. Now his curiosity spikes, because something's definitely up with the noble son steering the town. He starts spiraling into memories of everyone he's ever met in this world. The guild master, the adventurers, and the trainers who shaped his skills. The doctor, the tailor, the craftsman, Tony the guard too, and still the list keeps exploding bigger by the second. It slams into him that back in his old life it was just survival every day, but out here, he's got a whole community to belong to. Then it hits him, an epiphany so real it slaps. There's no way anyone truly makes it alone. People need people deep down. And he can't afford to forget the one that matters most. Ash, his ride-or-die fluffy partner. And yeah, head pats for the cutest, fluffiest companion in the whole world are non-negotiable. As autumn creeps in, he panics a little. Winter's coming and he needs to get ready, starting with a fireplace and then a quick nap soaking in a bath. He digs his old fishing gear out of storage, like it's calling his name, because it's time for a fishing side quest. He hurls his line into the water with a huge yaddo. By the lake, the whole world feels calm, no monsters lurking for once, and he finally gets to breathe easy. And guess what? He's barely even started before something takes the bait. He snatches out a sweet fish, and boom, his inner Japanese chef kicks in because parasite-free sashimi's on the menu, boys. He whips out his appraisal skill and the verdict hits, this fish is insanely delicious. All right, let's cast again and catch more. Today, the RNG gods are grinning at him, and he hauls in so much treasure he fills an entire barrel with his catch. Vibing by the water with his pets, soaking up pure peace like this is the best life there is. He nodded off by accident, but luckily his horse, Rocinante, didn't wander away. Time to haul that monstrous hole, pack up the mess, and sprint back home. All right, Rocinante, let's move. He shouts that he's ready and he's itching to get back in there. As soon as he arrives at his castle, his friends are already there, waiting for him like they've been holding their breath. They're getting ready for the party, and then, boom, he rolls in with enough fish to feed an army like the universe timed it just for him. Perfect, now let's drink. Marugo's already kicking back like he owns the place in the bath. Absolute legend. MC clocks in and gets to business fast, slicing fresh sashimi, then firing up some salt-grilled fish on the grill. Food S on the table, let's dive in and chow right now. Everyone's freaking out over the food, and Sarasa is the most hyped of all. She's practically vibrating for the sashimi. They take their very first bite of that raw fish, and boom, it hits like a revelation, turning their minds into full-on fireworks. They're straight up having a full-on foodgasm, completely losing their minds over how insanely good it tastes. MC can't stop grinning because his friends are actually loving his cooking. Juno blanks out and starts calling the sashimi by the wrong name, and MC snaps him back to reality. Dude, pull it together. Sarasa is still right there, feeding Marugo with one hand while keeping the other aimed at her chance, because she's not backing down. Respect the hustle. The whole squad is straight up living it up, stuffing their faces, laughing, and vibing like there's no tomorrow. MC snaps into action and starts force-feeding Juno, insisting this is the only way to drag him back to life. Juno's still totally lost, but she finally admits it. This food is insanely delicious, so yeah, we're taking it. The whole mood turns weird and the MC snaps into action. All right, forget it. He shouts, let's drink and let's sing. Next day, plot twist. He finds a wedding invitation because Marugo and Sarasa are getting married. Juno's standing there, totally heartbroken in the background. Yeah, my man just took a massive L, but hold up. And yeah, the invitation doesn't just include Juno, it ropes in his girlfriend too, Elsa. Wait, since when did Juno even have a girlfriend? Our MC is absolutely shattered. Every ounce of pity he had for Juno just got wiped out like it never happened. But hey, two of his closest friends are getting married, so he's gonna celebrate that. The wedding hits in 2 days, and they drag Chef K into the kitchen to cater, so he shows up and goes straight to the rescue. The day of the ceremony finally crashes in, and the whole atmosphere is absolutely unreal. He's whipped up some super fresh yakitori with his beloved world-class herb chickens. The main couple finally shows up, and their presence lights up the whole scene. Seriously, they look absolutely unreal. MC finally collides with Elsa, Juno's brand new girl. And then it hits him. He's seen her before. She's the innkeeper's daughter where Juno stays. He can't resist poking fun at Juno. You lucky bastard, she's way too good for you. But deep down, he's genuinely over the moon for his friend. This is one of those perfect days for the boys. They kick off the final, all-hands preparations for the ceremony. Right as that happens, some random dude in fancy clothes crashes the party like a wrecking ball. Everybody's like, wait, who is this guy? That smug dude's grinning like he already won, pointing at the newcomer and basically saying, yeah, I knew you'd show up. Marugo's face drains of color. He knows that guy, and deep down he can already feel the bad news coming. Our whole crew is furious. Who do those barbarians think they are, trying to wreck a day this special? Then bam, instant POV switch to one of those giant wolves, and the whole vibe flips as your guy gets hit with a brutal flashback. Turns out their pack leader got absolutely demolished by some high-level human, who also snatched their most precious thing, our boy's fluffy little pet. The wolf clocked that the human was absurdly op, slamming down some wild magic, and froze up, refusing to jump in without a solid plan. So yeah, the whole pack had to huddle in the bushes and watch their boss get wiped out while the VIP got snatched away. Honestly, what a brutal day. Then they finally clock it. RMC isn't a villain at all. He's protecting the little furball with everything he's got. In a world where it's survival of the fittest, that wolf is built different. And yeah, that dude's the fittest of them all. So the entire pack drops to the ground and swears loyalty, protecting the MC and his little pet until he's fully grown. And yeah, you've got a whole squad of giant wolves standing guard for you. That's not just an upgrade, that's a serious glow-up. They drop off food offerings and blast away any monsters that wander too close. But one day, my guy's curiosity spikes. He pokes around the MC's strange magic and gets caught in the act. But instead of fighting, our MC throws himself in front of the wolf to protect it, and yo, the wolf straight up starts blushing. My heart, it stammers, it's going crazy. I can't believe it. This dude is officially down bad for the MC. He patches himself up, and just like that, the wolf is fully converted too. The vibe is undeniable. This human is built different. Later, the wolves keep a sharp watch while the MC tries to reel in a catch, and right when they're least ready, a massive bear monster lunges in to jump them. The pack snaps into beast mode, clawing and biting like crazy to drive the bear out. They come back ready for a high five or whatever, but the MC's just standing there, vibing hard, clutching his pet and fishing pole like nothing's happening, totally oblivious. What a scene. The wolves are wiped out, and when they look back, the MC is totally gone. But right where he was, he left behind every fish he hauled in and a bowl of healing potion, pure Chad energy. The wolves tore into the food, and it hit them hard. This human had known they were lurking the whole time. Then the alpha just throws it out there. Yeah, I lost. Bro really pulled a win with nothing but a snack. And that's how our MC snagged a whole loyal wolf pack, staying up, guarding his crib 24/7. In the 8th scene, we meet Elsa, the local innkeeper, who's sprinting around the place, bossing everyone and scrambling to get the whole day ready. She tells you the truth. Most adventurers are broke as hell, so she rents them out cheap rooms, the real deal. And one of her regulars is this guy named Juno. Turns out she's been knowing Juno, and Sarasa too, since they were kids, and yeah, she's been crushing on Juno the whole damn time. But let me spill it. Juno was down bad for Sarasa, and Sarasa was head over heels for Marugo, the local blacksmith who's basically the whole package. Meanwhile, Elsa had to sit there and watch her crush get absolutely wrecked. Oof. Juno spirals into pure emo mode, stops taking care of himself, and slowly wastes away, while Elsa snaps at him, calling him an idiot, even though you can tell she's freaking worried. Suddenly, Keigo and the crew roll in, and right in front of them, chaos kicks off. This fancy-looking brute and his goons are trying to smash right into Marugo's place. He barges in like, yo, back up, my guy, this is private property. He scans the armor and realizes he's talking to some noble, and man, It's just another clown in the same costume. Then this straight-up lunatic yanks his loot like it's a weapon and threatens to sue them for home intrusion and arson. Bro, you're in an ice guy zone, and your modern laws are getting torn to shreds here. Noble Heinrich is chuckling at the whole spectacle, right up until he's ready to flex his power and throw his weight around. But our MC won't stand for it. He slams down his ultimate weapon, sashimi. He storms right up to the noble's horse and shoves a plate of raw fish in its face like it's a peace treaty. Absolute audacity, no joke. And yeah, it freaking works. Heinrich's dad is there, tearing into his son for being a total nuisance, while Keigo just keeps smiling like it's all under control. Keigo steps in like a referee, telling everyone to calm down and dig in, because today's a special day, damn it. That Japanese cuisine hits so hard it straight up brings them to tears. So yeah, don't ever underestimate the ice guy and his power. They're going absolutely feral over sashimi and sake, stuff they've never tasted in their lives. The crew goes, forget negotiations, and straight up invites the nobles to the party, talk about an absolute power move. They even turned witnesses into backup for Marugo and Sarasa's wedding chaos, problem solved with one simple thing: food. Everybody breathes easier and starts thanking Keigo like he's a legend, because he just diffused the whole mess like a total boss. While we're getting our guy ready, he accidentally stumbles into the girl's bath, freezes for a second, and then pretends like nothing happened. I didn't see a thing, he swears, and yeah, he's totally lying. At last, it's time to kick off the wedding. Keigo grips Ash in his arms, pacing in tense silence while everyone waits for the ceremony to kick off. Marugo and Sarasa stride down the aisle, looking absolutely breathtaking. Keigo's jaw drops, Sarasa looks absolutely gorgeous, and it's a rare sight to see Maru cleaned up and wearing a proper suit. They swapped hilariously cheesy vows about being each other's sun and earth, cringe as hell, but weirdly wholesome. They trade rings and seal their promise with a fiery kiss. The whole crowd is tearing up, and even our boy can't hold it together. The nobles, dad even stands up, points, and yells, "I swear, this food really did wonders on him." Keigo stared at the wedding like it was magic, because this was his first time ever seeing something like this in this world, and it hit him as completely brand new. Every single person's beaming like crazy, total good vibes everywhere, no bad energy in sight. Then bam, party time. Everyone dives in head first and goes wild for the celebration. Keigo's on chef duty, slicing up wild sashimi like a pro, right alongside yakitori, and absolutely blowing everyone's minds. A noble brought up these bizarre party games with stockings on your head, and Keigo's just relieved, because thank goodness that kind of custom doesn't exist here. Instead, he declares that a wedding isn't truly complete unless there's a wedding song. He strides up to the mic, right into the spotlight of the room, ready to rip into his performance. He belts out this soul-shaking, heartfelt song about how love bridges every gap, even when you can't speak the same language, and the newlyweds are sobbing with happy tears like their hearts finally found the words. It's the kind of bonding moment that hits everyone there like a spark, pure connection. The wedding absolutely crushed it, total success from start to finish. A boy watches a joyful couple get into their carriage and roll out, sending them off with a bright, hopeful goodbye. The other guys are completely out cold, so he decides to just let them smash right into the smithy. Later that night, Keigo kicked back on the roof, soaking up the breeze and letting the whole world quiet down. He can't shake the feeling that this wild, non-stop day has to be a dream. Ever since he showed up, he's been thinking about everything that's flipped since. Back then he was a lone wolf, but now he's surrounded by comrades. This guy, the kind who used to shove everyone out, somehow cracked his shell and found people who stayed close to share his happiest moments. He still remembers every bright moment, cooking side by side with Juno and Marugo. Girls sneak into the bathhouse, and trouble starts bubbling fast. Ash was the absolute cutest pet in the whole world, and everyone else there couldn't stop staring too. That wedding bliss hit him so hard, he'd never felt anything like it back in Japan, and he was just as thrilled as everyone standing there. He can't stop thinking how words can slice you to the bone, like a blade. And instead of leaning on anyone, he always bolted, turning running into his go-to defense. But in this brutal world, he finally found a place that feels like home. Snuggling up with Ash, he finally realizes this isn't a dream at all. This is his new reality, and it's real. Every contradiction flips on its head, like reality can't take the pressure. He finally feels safe enough to let people in, like real, no-joke character growth. He has no clue what tomorrow brings, but right now he's going to cling to this feeling like it's everything. He tilts his head toward the moon, and a calm, peaceful smile blooms across his face. He shrugs off the cleaning for tomorrow and soaks up the moment like it's made just for him. Right then, loud wolf howls rip through the night, and he yells for them to quiet down, while grinning like an idiot, because he's figured out that sharing happiness with others is the kind of joy he can't get enough of. All right, so our boy scrapes himself back into the daily grind after that wedding disaster, feeling his power shoot up like crazy. Then he wastes no time and starts drilling his archery skills. But hold on, his fluffy sidekick, Ash, starts losing it big time. And then bam, a massive serpent boss just erupts out of nowhere in his backyard. Kigo fires an arrow like plink, but it ricochets off with zero effect, and yeah, bro, that's absolutely not gonna work. Sweat pours down his face as he spams his op appraisal skill, begging for any crack in the enemy's armor. The system UI flashes, and get this. The serpent's got a poison skill, but its trash tear slashes right through wind. Then boom, its own poison breath gets reflected back, and my dude levels up just for standing there. RNG is absolutely on his side today. He barely had time to piece it together before someone hit him with a brutal clap. Now that he's cracked the strat, cockiness hits him like lightning. He basically taunts the giant snake, just waiting to slam back with its deadliest attack. That serpent starts cranking up its venom breath, and our boy goes, "Oh no, I've got to nail this timing perfectly right now." He's just waiting, eyes locked on the moment to come. And right when the poison cloud explodes, he lets out a brutal scream. Now. He rips the air with a monstrous gust, and boom, he spawns a full-on tornado right in front of everyone. The serpent coughs up a faceful of its own deadly toxic fumes, then thrashes and writhes in agony like it just swallowed a curse. Nasty. Its scales are literally sloughing off its body as the poison eats away at it. Seizing the opening, Keigo barrels into the melee and swings that massive sword for the kill. He slams in a massive hit, and the beast staggers like it just got wrecked. Then boom, he lands one last epic hit and ends it for good. Our guy levels up to 15, and his stats suddenly look downright nasty in the best way. The first thing he does is rush over to check on his wolf companions, like a total champ pet owner. He pats them on the head for being the best boys and for helping him clutch the fight. Meanwhile, right back in town, everyone spots the giant dead snake he's hauling along, and their jaws slam open in total shock. He dumps the body at the dismantlers, but nobody's breathing right. Everyone's still shell-shocked, and then he literally runs straight into Juno. Turns out Juno got completely wrecked at the wedding, ditched his brand new waifu, and yeah, that's not exactly a Chad move, my guy. Keigo starts firing up his brain, plotting what kind of op gear he can forge from the serpent parts. He storms into the guild to get that request processed right away. As soon as he shows up, he files a request about the serpent, because the dungeon's acting up again, spawning mobs all over the place. He admits it, pure luck this time. If that monster had struck when he was totally gearless, it would have been game over for him, no doubt. He gets hit with this sudden, burning need to level up, so he straight up decides it's time to start the training arc. He tracks down the old masters and throws himself at them, begging to learn every secret of wind magic. He knows he's got to grind harder if he wants to unlock those higher-tier spells. Next up on his list, he's hunting down martial arts so he can finally learn those nasty tornado kicks he saw earlier. Kai-sensei starts showing off insane flexibility like it's unreal. Then he explodes forward with a full flip kick, and Keigo's left frozen in pure shock. Like, there's no way a human can bend like that, right? So what, they just start flinging him around like he's a rag doll. Our boy, losing it, yelling that he's gonna die, because he's literally fighting to learn a brand new skill. And guess what? Yeah, it actually works. He lands a notification, learns the skill, gains the moonsault, and this world's rules are straight up built different. After he finally masters the backflip heat, he turns his focus to all the other magic, starting with the core elements: fire, water, wind, earth, light, and darkness. He grabs that light, and the skill snaps into his hands on the spot. Then the old dudes practically explode with pride over how fast he's leveling. His buddy Otto's buzzing with excitement, ready to watch him unleash and level up his brand new light powers. At the dismantler at last, the job's finished. Then they slide him some serpent meat. But once Keigo watched that thing literally melt, he went, "Nope, snake steaks. I'm out, fam." He still strides off with a fat stack of 8 gold coins in his pocket, plus every last scale, fang, and poison gland. And yeah, that's a huge payday. He knows monster-scale defensive gear is flying off the shelves, so he hightails it to Marugo's shop to sell his supply. He strolls right up to the shop, wearing a bright, cheerful grin. And right away he storms in on Marugo and his brand new wife going way too far. This kid's face is pure, unfiltered cringe, like it's screaming second-hand embarrassment in real time. He slams the door shut like something out of this world just crawled out of the dark. Not happening, 8 ashes have to drop, and we're not coming back here. But they snag him, and the newlyweds instantly start bickering over who gets the cool serpent scales. Keigo just shoves them over and calls it a wedding gift to shut them up fast. He tries to sneak away so they can finally return to their honeymoon, but they won't let him go until he takes something in return. After their wedding, they hand him top-shelf liquor. Honestly, that's a pretty killer trade. Later that night, my dude is sprawled by the fire, fully kicking back. He's completely wrecked, but that alcohol hits him perfectly. He snuggles up to his fluffy buddy, Ash, and gushes that he's his only healer, pure wholesome vibes. Little did he know, his bros were already scheming to yank him out for a full-blown night on the town. So our boy forges a sick necklace for Ash, made from a wolf fang, because this best boy needs protection and he's going to make sure he gets it. He's finally locking in his blacksmith skills, and now he's dead set on forging a water element dagger for Juno next. Right on cue, Juno barges in, looking for him like the universe just summoned her. Juno then breaks into this wildly weird hip sway, acting out drinking and those woman moves like she's trying to mime the whole thing. Keigo is totally lost. Wait, is this guy dragging him into some secret club or what's going on here? Juno storms out, leaving Keigo staring after him, swearing he'll be back tonight. He's convinced Juno's got something heavy on her mind, like she's carrying stress she can't shake. As night starts to sink in, he's gearing up to head out, then remembers he can't take Ash with him. He hooks up with the crew to hand over the brand new dagger. They invite him out, and he decides to drop Ash off with Sarasa first, so the little guy won't feel alone. He barrels straight to her shop. Sarasa's face says it all. Seeing him only brings her no joy. But the second she spots Ash, her whole mood snaps into place. She gushes about how cute he is, while Keigo just stands there, painfully awkward. He tells them, "I'm heading to a snack bar with the guys." Then he breaks into that same weird hip sway dance Juno was obsessed with, way too hyped on mama and booze. He quickly swears it's just a friendly drink, because one bit of drama would ruin everything. But Saraso is staring him down like death itself. Her eyes are laughing, but her aura is basically screaming murder, and he panics, trying to win her over with mithril scales, totally clueless about what he just did wrong. He snatches the ash, shoves it into someone else's hands, and bolts out of there in a flash. The boys are already half drunk when he shows up, and they yank him straight into the night without even giving him a second to breathe. Kay's just praying for a chill night, sipping that new, fantasy world booze like it's nothing. Oh man, this innocent fool has no clue what's coming. They finally crash into a place called the Butterfly Cradle. It looks all calm and peaceful, but the waitresses keep grinning way too hard, like they're almost friendly on purpose. Our MC finally clocks it. This place feels way too familiar, like he's lived it all back in his world. And he can't believe his own boys hauled him here to a damn Ice Guy hostess club. They get seated, 1 girl per person, and Keigo just shrugs like, "All right, let's roll." His friends pump him up with good luck, and he has zero clue what kind of chaos is about to hit him. A calm, stunning woman glides up to his table, right like the world just paused for her. Tonight, he got absolutely blessed by the RNG for his partner. They step up and introduce themselves, like the start of something huge. Our boy suddenly panics, then trips over his own words. Turns out she can't speak at all, so they just pass notes and write everything on a notepad. Tell me that isn't the cutest thing ever. Her name is Urina, and just saying it feels like the start of trouble. This whole mess yanks Keigo straight back to his college days, when he tried to learn foreign languages just to impress girls, and boom, his old Riz skills are kicking into gear. He whips his gaze over to check if his friends are holding up, and watches Marugo dive straight into the full motorboat chaos. Absolute mad lad. Keigo shrugs it off and locks in on Urina, because if Marugo's wife ever finds out, he's a dead man. They're scrambling to find something to say when a minstrel suddenly starts playing a song. That performance absolutely blew me away. Keigo, the total op nerd, whips out appraisal and reads the song itself. He gets hit with a lord's wild story about a legendary tree, and that flower can heal anything. Its flower's nectar is basically a miracle cure, like a panacea in liquid form. The song straight up says you'll need the nectar, a couple of rare herbs, and the hair of a divine beast to brew the ultimate healing potion. And trust me, that's a side quest just begging to happen later. Keigo can't believe it. His college buddy was right all along. Walking into bars and chatting up girls is the quickest way to soak up new lessons. As they head out, the guys hit him with, "Did you have fun?" And Keigo grins from ear to ear, saying he wants to come back and talk with Irina some more. He finally realizes they weren't messing with him at all. They were pushing him to socialize more. He's crazy grateful, because this whole place is way too much for him to handle alone. He rushes inside and starts gushing about Ash, then bam, he freezes like, wait, why is Ash here? Oh no, this is an ambush. The wives just showed up and their faces scream trouble. They're boxed in from every side, and it feels like the world is closing in, like it's all over. Keigo lunges to bolt, yanking Ash up like a shield. Sorry, friends, my fault. He screams as they yank him down and drag him under. The three of them get yanked into a Caesar-style kneel, trapped in the blast zone of an intense interrogation. Keigo tries to plead the fifth, but his boys are getting absolutely wiped out already. The wives are radiating pure fury, right when you think their rage is finally starting to die down. Ash, the ultimate wingman, flips the script and snatches something right out of Marugo's pocket. It's a torn scrap of the waitress's uniform. Sarasa's expression snaps from calm to full-blown nightmare mode. She jabs a finger at the evidence, and her look is downright terrifying. The boys already know they're done for, so yeah, F in the chat. Since Keigo was just an innocent bystander, he's getting a free pass. Meanwhile, the other two are seconds away from getting erased and tossed straight into the shadow realm. He drops into a deep bow and bolts out of there like his life depends on it. A real strategist doesn't stay to die. He retreats when the moment demands it. That night, Keigo sprawls on his roof, lost in one wild philosophical headspace. He can't stop wrestling with the eternal mystery. Why are dudes so irresistibly drawn to boobs? He finally realizes it, because it's our very first meal. They're meant to stand for peace and calm. He keeps preaching that men must trek straight through the country of Usura to reach their quest. And honestly, this dude isn't just talking, he's doing poetry. He claims the gap in how men and women see this topic is so massive it might as well stretch across the Milky Way. Then he straight up points at the sky and conjures a brand new star pattern, and I'm like, yep, that constellation, it's called boobs. He whips his head back toward the house where his friends are getting disciplined, and with a grin he goes, farewell, dear friends, along with that boobs constellation before he's gone. All right, buckle up. Juno's out here bragging that his entire squad is leveling up in the romance game. Marugo just got hitched, and Juno's got himself a girlfriend named Elsa, but our MC, Keigo Rose Riz. He's frozen at absolute zero. So Juno, the ultimate bro, decides he can't just stand by. He steps in to help his awkward friend who's drowning in social stress. So yeah, you want their 500 IQ master plan. They're hauling him straight to the red light district, the ultimate mission for the ultimate introvert, and they've already recruited the big bruiser, Marugo, too. Marugo goes all in, whispers that they've gotta keep it quiet from the girls, because if they don't act, Keigo's headed for dying alone. And it's not just worry, he's in debt to Keigo big time. Without him, Marugo never would have even met his wife. Juno nods along, basically saying Keigo's advice was the spark that helped him crawl out of his breakup and finally chase his own heart. A boy looked like he dropped some serious, life-flipping wisdom. Live your life exactly your way. Thanks to that Chad-level advice, Juno is finally with Elsa. So yeah, it's payback time now, and the bros are locked in together. With their powers fused, they rip into action, Operation Get Keigo Away starts now, it's go time. That cover story is straight-up classic. Keigo's inviting a dude over for a guy's night, where they'll just chat about nothing but pure man stuff. And yeah, it sounds totally believable. But trust me, the real plan is way more unhinged. They're gonna snatch him up in a carriage and stealth drop him straight into the red light district. Then they'll swoop back to Marugo's, crash for the night, and dump Keigo at home by morning like it was all nothing. Talk about a flawless plan. The whole mission is crystal clear. Find a girl Keigo will actually talk to. If they pull that off, that's it, mission complete, and the hype is off the charts. Next morning, Juno shows up at Keigo's place and catches him talking to a dagger. Yeah, it's even worse than we feared. This man is so lonely he's flirting with his weapon, and we need that intervention, like, right now. Juno tosses that secret sign that screams, let's go drinking, and thank the stars Keigo catches it, because he totally gets the bro code. Everything felt like it was finally going right, until he realized it was only pretending. And just like that, on the way back, they slam right into their girlfriends, and the RNG gods are in a nasty mood, because it's a total party wipe. Turns out Marugo snapped, tore through everything, and now he can't remember a single thing. Everyone's staring like, bro, what did you do? Elsa's exploding with rage while Juno's locked in full apology mode. Then Sarasa, the only one thinking clearly, realizes Keigo is just an innocent bystander snagged in the chaos. Marugo tries to sell the mission as Keigo's best chance at safety, but Juno's too busy panicking about saving himself to give a damn. Sarasa starts laying into her husband, like, "So you were so drunk you forgot everything, but you still had fun, huh?" Then she cracks her knuckles. Then she straight up smashes him to the ground while yelling, "Shut up, Baldy." She locks him in a WWE-style submission hold and squeezes until he swears, he'll never cheat again. By the end, the only win they managed was snatching a slip of paper from one of the guy's pockets, handed to him by some lady, because the whole mission was a spectacular disaster. Meanwhile, Key goes back home, just chilling hard, trying to get some work done while the world can't stop him from vibing. But Psyche, he can't shake that bartender waifu Yorina from his head. He's spiraling, feeling down bad, and wondering if this is the real deal. Actual love. He tries to talk himself out of it, like, "Nah, romance is not for me, this feeling'll fade." And he even tries to bully his own heart into going numb, into being some emotionless rock, but his galaxy-level genius snaps up the perfect excuse. Her shop has killer drinks, and he needs to learn the language. Yeah, right, Sue or a buddy, we all know you're just simping. He doubles down on the lie, telling himself he's only visiting her for his own benefit. Sure, buddy, keep telling yourself that. So yeah, he shows up and they click instantly. Like, instantly. And he even rolls in with her snacks, which proves this guy's actually serious. He starts showing up at her place like clockwork, just soaking up the good vibes. They're just kicking back, sipping drinks, and riding that feel-good high like they own the night. But the longer he's with her, the stranger it gets, until a flower suddenly blooms on his hand out of nowhere. He starts spiraling, slammed with memories of how he always pushes people away, and his heart is locked down tighter than Fort Knox. But Yorina just gets him instantly, and when she locks in with her full attention, it hits him hard. He can't compete with that kind of energy. He can't tell if she's playing along for real, but when he talks, it actually lands, because she's not faking it. She's genuinely hooked on his world. He thinks it's just some move meant to pull in guys, but nah, she's clearly enjoying it just as much. The moment he starts talking, she lights up so hard everything else goes fuzzy. Pure main character energy right there. He's getting bold, telling her he wants to know everything about her, promising he'll trade his most precious thing for the answers. And he realizes, holy crap, spending time with her actually feels so damn fulfilling, who would have guessed? Back at home, Marugo swings in and catches Keigo showing off his leveled-up speaking skills. Turns out it's all thanks to his non-stop trips to the waifu shop. Then Marugo drops a bombshell. Now that he's married, he and Juno can't hit that shop anymore, so K's gotta fly solo. Winter's creeping in, and our boy decides he's gotta build a fireplace. Because it's apparently hitting Hikato-level freezing levels already, like seriously freezing. As he lounges by the crackling fire, he finally decides what his most precious gift for Yorina will be. He's set on making her a book, using his appraisal skill to turn what he saw into a picture book, then sneaking in a few cooking tips to keep it subtle, so the nobles won't catch on. He wraps it up, signs on the dotted line, and prays the next big romantic move lands like a love bomb. He's bragging like he just built a masterpiece with his new fireplace. Then it hits him, he needs a chair for Uranusen. Whoa there, buddy, don't run ahead of yourself. Right on cue, he barrels into town, and there she is like the world set it up. What are the chances? They trade gifts, and when she hands him a book, no way. Are they seriously in the exact same wavelength? He's still reeling because she even hooked him up with a whole book too. Like, come on, bro, that's straight up destiny. She even hooked him up with a full winter wardrobe because she's honestly the GOAT. Then he wastes zero time and changes straight into that fresh new drip. Yorino stares at the book he created and gets totally blown away. Like every ounce of effort he poured into it just paid off in a huge, undeniable way. She's completely obsessed, devouring it like it's the best thing ever, while Kigo just smiles and soaks up every moment because she's glowing with pure happiness. Then she steps right up to him, whispers for him to recite the spell from the grimoire she handed over, an ice magic book that drips with power. He tries it once and poof, instant ice bursts out like magic. A system notification explodes onto the screen, *** skill obtained. Ice. And just like that, he realizes he can learn skills straight from books. Yeah, this is a total game changer. He dives into experiments, and the moment he does, he realizes the truth. Like every other spell, tweaking the energy and the timing completely flips the outcome. He's practically exploding with joy when he realizes they both love books. Like this is fate sealing the deal, a perfect match. He can't help but notice that every time he's with her, the minutes either zip past like lightning or drag themselves at a snail's pace. Yeah, it's a whole vibe. Later, he spots Marugo and Sarasa, the town's power couple, and their sweet, perfect vibe makes his brand new outfit look even better. That night he couldn't sleep, his mind wouldn't shut up. He kept replaying why he always stayed distant from people. His old boss, who treated being late like a sin, like it was murder. His. His boss preached this wild idea: being late steals years off a person's life, and that trauma absolutely shattered him. But with Juno, Marugo, and Sarasa by his side, it doesn't feel like he's being held back at all. Maybe this is what real friendship tastes like. And just like that, his mind drifts right back to Urina. Being with her doesn't feel like stealing time from someone's life. It feels like stealing the clock right back. It feels like he just let the words out. Then bam, the truth smacks him like a truck. She might be the one destiny wrote for him. But the more he spirals over her, the more he loses his footing. He's got feelings, yeah. Yet love is so messy and complicated it's driving him insane. He wanders into town without even catching it happening. He's supposed to be picking up winter gear, but come on. He's really here to drop another present for Urino. He hands her the water dagger he forged with his own hands, and her eyes go wide. Then she's instantly obsessed. She leans in close to thank him, and boom, my boy's brain crashes like it's possessed. He's already convinced he's gotta bring a weapon next time just to keep himself safe. I'm crying, but then he spots her writing and starts wondering, does she treat every guy customer like this? His chest drops, jealousy hits him like a brick, and he can't deny it. Reeling in pain and misery, he decides to hit the gym and crush a workout to burn off every ounce of steam. Suddenly, his fox Ash goes into full panic because something monstrous is crawling outside the wall. He barrels in and spots a giant bear, and the moment he lays eyes on it, he knows this one's not like the others. He busts out his appraisal, bam. A red grizzly, a rare monster that only crashes the scene in autumn and shrugs off fire like it's nothing. He reasons, if it's fire element, then water has to be its Achilles heel, and he racks up the bow gun. He pulls the trigger, nothing stops it. The bear just roars straight through the shots. He's stuck on one question: did he even land it? A massive cloud of steam explodes forward, blasting his vision white in an instant. But he keeps his eyes locked in and drops a flawless headshot straight through the steam bulls. And just like that, he levels up, boom. He's now level 16 in the grind. It never, ever lets up. Then he cooks that stripped-down meat, and no joke, it turns out insanely delicious. He even gets the bear family's jewels. Those things can be used to make medicine. Then he wisely refuses to test the potion on himself. Smart move. He downs it anyway, and just like that, his whole body starts feeling lighter. The appraisal screams that it's a top-tier recovery potion, one that can even regrow parts of the body. That's straight-up op. He keeps the fur so Sarasa can whip up a quilt, but after what he learned, he refuses to touch that potion ever again. Then he packs up and heads straight into town. He hands the fur to Sarasa, then dives straight into the very last thing he has to do. He's standing right in the heart of town before this massive fancy mansion, shaking with nerves like, oh no, this is it. 8. Keigo marches up to that massive mansion like he's seconds away from shitting his pants. Rose is freaking out hard. He strides up to the guards and introduces himself, and one of them, Tony-san's on the spot, goes, wait, I know you. Then he blurts, all right, 8-bet, come with me. They finally make it to the office, only for the big boss to be strolling around like he owns the place, living that retired life dream. The guard shoves Kei outside to go peek around, and Keigo slaps down the goods, an all-in-one parts restoration potion, basically a senzu bean bottled up for my man. The Lord and his guards spot it, and their jaws slam straight to the ground, completely stunned. Keigo's like, yeah, it's super rare, but holding on to this cheat item is freaking me out. Just drink it, old man. The Lord doesn't pause for a second. He gulps that potion straight down his throat and goes full send. And bam, he starts sparkling like some twilight vampire, floating off the ground like gravity just quit. That glow-up is unreal, like a legit magical girl transformation happening right in front of your eyes. He starts yelling about his arm, and my dude, boom, his arm comes back. It actually worked. Then Kei just stands there like, I told you so. Everyone's partying, and Keigo plus the guards sneak into a quick little huddle like, maybe we don't say the secret ingredient, yeah. Because that's the kind of thing that sounds wildly suspicious. Even introvert Keigo, like, seriously, he's all I'm out, says his job's done, and tries to slip away, but the old man won't let him. He shoves a fat stack of cash into Keigo's hands, growling that you can't last a single day out here without money, especially if there's no Amazon Prime. And without even trying to be rude, Keigo happily snatches the bag. Absolute Chad move. Now that Keigo finally got paid, he starts freaking out about how winter's creeping in, then daydreams about suiting up and playing Santa for his waifu, Urina. Yeah, bro's seriously down bad. Then bam, reality smacks him in the face. There's no Christmas for this ice guy, and the sadness hits hard. He ducks into a shop, tosses money at the clerk like it's nothing, waves off the change, and flashes that fresh cash like he means business. He barrels right into Marugo's crew, and Marugo, an absolute unit, deadpans that he's just out there counting cash on the shore, like that's his whole life. Rich people problems at max level. Back home, Kay's kicking back, wrapped up in his brand new super fluffy blanket, straight up vibing, and soaking in total mafumafu heaven, ready to take on winter like a champ. Under the blanket, he's teasing his tiny fluffball pet Ash, gushing that it's adorable. Yeah, the guy S got a serious soft spot. Suddenly, the house gets visitors, Juno and Elsa, and he immediately hauls out the bear meat to cook up a feast. They're diving into some sukiyaki, and it's so good it's basically bussin'. He hands Elsa some juice because she's stuck running the bar. Then he can't even bring himself to swallow the irony. Then it gets painfully awkward. Juno and Elsa start passing around a question like hot potato, both dying to ask it. Finally, they hit you with the bombshell. So, are you dating Yurina? And Keigo's face goes full bro for real. Because he can tell they didn't come for anything else, they came for the tea. Keigo goes full dense MC, panics. This is way too complicated, and decides to ghost the whole question like he's got a question master to avoid. But they totally buy his dodge, step in to help with the winter prep crisis, and just like that, everything is averted for now. Once they're gone, Keigo spirals inward, trying to talk himself into believing it's fine he didn't visit Yurina. Dude, you're coping so hard it's unreal. He's stacking these huge tubs to trap the ice, then plotting to melt it for clean water later. Yeah, this guy's a straight-up survivalist. Then he decides it's bath time, whips out his magic water dagger, speedruns filling the tub, and basically declares, "Op item for the win." While he's soaking in the tub, my man turns philosophical, telling me romance isn't some movie fantasy, it's just all about surviving day to day, and yeah, it's a full-time grind. No cap. He's even sitting down for a real heart-to-heart with his pet, and the little guy is loving every second of that steam. He spots an entire family of squirrels, and it immediately yanks him back into another spiral. Hell, even his past life comes roaring up, all the pressure to marry and bros definitely carrying some heavy baggage. He lands on this brutal truth. Romance is way tougher than surviving, and yeah, for this guy, that's probably dead on. He slaps together a clothing rack, but the second it's done, his thoughts crash straight back to Yurina, brimming with ugly, spiraling angst over whether he can even protect her, and the self-doubt hits like a tidal wave. He barges back into the guild and tells the guild master straight up. He's not good enough for Yurina, like, bro, quit self-sabotaging. The guild master leans in and offers to take care of his pet himself. And Keigo makes it crystal clear he's not going to see her. After one last goodbye, Keigo slams the door on the past and hits the road. Right as he's about to leave town, this wild wave hits, pure euphoria, and my man just stands there like, wait, why am I feeling this? Totally confused by his own emotions. Then the depression crashes in. Back in his cabin, every little thing feels like a punishment he can't escape. He's back in hermit mode, ready to vanish from the entire world like it never even mattered. He launches into a full-on boomer rant about how the internet doesn't exist here, turning every social moment into some enemy vs ally strategy, like bro is spiraling into overthinking Olympics. He finally realizes romance is the very root of all his pain. The second he starts thinking about Yurina, his emotions overload, boom. His brain slams into full defense mode, like an antivirus built to block feelings. He blurts out that he loves her, but his own brain panics and shoves those feelings away. So he convinces himself the only way out is to forget her. He tells himself this is for the best, but the lie is obvious. He's not buying it for a second. He spirals into a full mental breakdown, crumples on the floor, sobbing like his soul's cracking, then declares, "Yep, I'm officially the most miserable guy on earth." Bro, get a grip. Back in town, chaos is exploding. Some guy just pulled the trigger in the guild. And it looks like our girl, Irina, is in serious trouble. And now, bam, we cut to a brand new character. Heinrich, a high-class lord who looks like he stepped right out of a royal painting. This dude keeps picking up on something sketchy, and it's definitely been going down. That's suspicious, he got his dad back moment. The same guy who Keigo just healed snaps back into reality when the arm returns to him. Heinrich is a genius. He snapped the clues into place and figured it out instantly for our boy Keigo. Turns out he slipped the treasurer some cash to get the intel. This guy fights dirty. And now he finally knows the legend about the part restoration potion. He launches into a monologue about how his dad's arm could get healed, but his heart refuses to put on a show. His first thought hits, monetize this, and suddenly he's picturing himself swimming in piles of gold coins. So he hatches a ruthless villain scheme: snatch Keigo, enslave him, and turn him into a potion mule. His spies hand him the upper hand. Keigo's been spotted, so our boy's out here playing it cool, wide-eyed, barely alive, and telling himself that being alone feels totally fine. Yeah, sure, keep telling yourself that, buddy. He's fully in his edgelord era, yelling that he's an irregular existence. Bro, you're not special, you're just lonely. And hey, it's okay. He's so out of it he can't even remember how he got home, but the moment his stomach growls, reality hits. Yeah, he's still alive. He slaps his appraisal skill on the fish he snagged, and boom. Finds the eggs are basically top-tier loot, and now he's already plotting to knock him back with a drink later. Then my man hits a galaxy brain moment. He remembers he bought chilies, so he's about to whip up some gourmet menteco, and then from beyond his gate, a desperate rescue finally crashes in. He peeks out and blurts, "So you're a woman." Bro, this isn't just one. It's a whole squad of potential waifus lined up and begging for help. He grumbles about hating trouble, but come on. He'd never actually refuse, and once they knock, he lets them in like it's nothing. He scoops up his fluffy buddy, drags Ash inside, and tells the girls, "Stay right there." The second they're safe, they freeze in a dramatic pose and shout thanks for pulling them out. He tells them, "Relax, you're safe here," then tosses them some warmer clothes and steps in like a total gentleman. While his dog whines, he cranes his neck toward the window, checking if the coast is clear. He whips around and bam, they're already sprawled on his bed like, "Come on, let's sleep together." The audacity is unreal. But our MC isn't playing around. He just gestures and points them to a totally different bed like, "Bet you're exhausted," and sends them packing. This whole thing screams something's off, and he can feel it. There's gotta be a real reason they've been wandering out there. After double-checking the perimeter one last time, he tells himself he'll take care of them in the morning. He snatches a drink, and then out of nowhere, nausea slams him hard. My dude barely swings himself into bed before he drops dead asleep, like immediately. While he's lost in dreamland, the girls are causing trouble, and he bolts upright with a huge, "Huh." Ash, the real MVP, is doing everything he can to stop one of them. But yeah, he's still just a fluffy little boy trying his best. Keigo rockets out of bed barking, "What's going on?" Like he can't breathe until he gets answers. And right then, a giant tiger man crashes through the door, roaring like crazy. My women, and bam, that's when the real plot twist hits. That huge brute claws for the exact potion that healed someone else's arm, and Keigo finally clicks, realizing it's a straight-up setup. Before the guy can even get a word out, he blasts out a hellfire sword, scorching nearly the whole place to ash. But just like that, he steps straight into one of Keigo's traps, and zap, he gets hit with it. The shock slams into him and leaves him with a whole new afro. No joke, it's a major upgrade from that weird mohawk now. Now Kei has to make a call. He's not about to throw 3 women out into the freezing cold, not after they set him up. Right then, a voice he knows, Marugo, and the cavalry comes charging in. And right beside them, best girl Yorina hangs there, looking seriously worried. The moment it starts, the air turns painfully awkward, like everybody forgot how to breathe. He pieces it all together. Turns out they slipped him sleeping pills as part of some wicked prank, and he was the target the whole time. Turns out that Afro bastard hired a couple goons to use the girls as bait and lure him in. But Yorina, absolute queen energy, fired up her intel network, sniffed out the whole plan, and came barreling in to save the day. Because she's freaking out, Keigo calls it, she lets the entire crew crash for the night. Later, they throw a full-blown party to celebrate, and the 3 bait girls smartly duck out, so it's just the main crew left partying. He even goes ahead and serves that fancy cheese menteco he was just about to whip up. And everybody's freaking out because the food is insanely good. While the others dig in, Keigo spots Yorina staring at him, so he hustles her outside and corner catches her for a private talk. He's drowning in guilt for disappearing on her and leaving her with 0 answers. He can't believe it. She ran all this way in light clothes just for him, and he snatches her into a fierce hug. Then he slips off his coat and hands it to her. Yeah, the Riz is absolutely off the charts, my friends. Right on cue, snow starts falling. And boom, this scene hits max romance like it's leveling up in real time. He's staring at her like she's a real-life angel, straight from the heavens. My man is red as a tomato, completely losing it over this woman, like he's fallen face first into catastrophe. He gets it, this is the moment, and he's gotta fire his best shot. He blurts out an apology for dodging her, then adds, "And there's one more thing." He drops the L-bomb and I'm instantly in love, then she throws it right back with Amy too. Let's go. He looked at my guy, and you could tell he was drowning in his feels, replaying every word from the letter his waifu wrote him while they tore through the snow. She basically hit him with, "Hey, if living with me feels like too much, we can break up, go for it." And yeah, she'd probably cry. But she said whatever like it was no big deal, and that reverse psychology was straight up elite. She looks him dead in the eye and blurts, "I love you," then adds, right now and forever, she just wants to stay right by his side. He's convinced she can read his mind, even while he maps out an escape route, just in case he needs to bolt. And she doesn't argue or question it, she accepts every ugly flaw and every good part of him. He was totally gobsmacked that someone this kind could actually exist. His worst nightmare, waking up again in Japan. It's just another Tuesday to him, but a total gut punch for his iSky life. So we'd have to ditch Yorina and leave Ash behind. And now he's fully simping, swearing his heart would splinter into a million shards, because he straight up can't breathe if she's not around. And just like that, his brand new life chapter kicked off, packed to the brim with fluff. He's down on his knees, begging for one thing, more days with her, loving her hard every single morning until they finally grow old side by side. He's feeling unstoppable, like whatever nasty RNG this world hurls at them, they'll walk out just fine. Suddenly, guests crash the scene. Marugo, the huge buff powerhouse, and the girls UK's been dying to see for ages. They're hauling in a whole pile of Irina's old things from the bar she used to work at. The girls immediately start geeking out over her sweaters, and our MC is scrambling to pretend he didn't hear that. Bro, just embrace the waifus, wardrobe already. Marugo, the big guy, demanded fancy food as a thank you, and Kay fired back, "Bet." Then realized he was out of ingredients, so he bolted to go fishing. Right before he heads out, Yorina swoops in and plants this huge, all-smooch kiss on him in front of everyone, public PDA, no warning. Letes goo. The whole squad is blushing and begging them to cut it out, so Keigo quietly slips away like mission accomplished. Meanwhile, some random soldiers stuck out in the snow, grumbling about the biting cold and begging for the mission to be over already. He trips over this super weird, thorny mess. It's covered in holes, and the whole thing screams way too suspicious. Right then, spikes start blasting out of nowhere, everywhere at once. He slams his shield up to block, and then it hits him. This isn't just any monster, it's a whole new species, the same kind of nightmare that probably wiped out those merman. He taps appraisal and bam, because Bam turns into a monstrous giant urchin, a wild, thorn-covered nightmare that's a natural enemy of serpents. And yeah, it's got one glaring weakness: lightning. My man's brain cranks into overdrive. If lightning gets him, then his thunder sword is about to absolutely annihilate. He spots a cooldown between each thorn strike, and that tiny gap gives him just enough breathing room. He dodges the next wave of attacks and charges in. Then he screams, because another one shows up too, and it's double the trouble. He doesn't pause for a second. He just swings and drops a brutal, bone-cracking bash. And just like that, he levels up. He sucks in a breath and pulls it off. Boom, easy clap. But the water's ice cold, so he has to rip this whole thing apart, right now before it kills him. He slaps on appraisal, and it only spits out super delicious. No extra stats, just pure undefeated vibes. So my dude tosses a piece right into his mouth. His face flickers through like 10 different emotions all at once. This uni keeps devouring the fanciest kelp like it's a luxury buffet, turning it into a top-tier S-class ingredient. Trust me, this uni's about to go legendary. He gets so hyped he screams, snatches the giant urchin, and bolts back home before any other mobs can show up. His friends spot him hauling that spiky nightmare around, and they're completely unimpressed. Keigo snaps that these guys aren't used to raw food, especially not something that looks this disgusting, and he's gotta cook up something special just to make it work. First up, salt uni. He plops it in a glass, drops in a spoon, and basically orders them, "Go on, just eat it." They shoot each other mega skeptical looks, then they take this little bite like they're testing fate. It's delicious, every single one of them gets converted on the spot. Yoshi, time for the main course. By smashing those eggs as fast as he can, my guy whips up soft, fluffy, raw uni omelets in a flash, like an absolute ice guy chef. And yeah, everyone's straight up losing it over how insanely good this is. Dude, they're already knocking back drinks like crazy, fueled by that top-tier food and unreal good vibes. This party is straight up on fire. Keigo takes a break to wash the fox, only to find it face-planted into its food bowl like it meant to do it. Cranking up the outdoor bath in the dead of winter. That's not just relaxing, that's living your best life on hard mode. He's just vibing under that clean sky, soaking in the moonlight, when a familiar voice suddenly yanks him out of the moment. Keigo, it's Irina. Oh man, you've got to hear this. She strides up to him, and yeah, she's definitely not wearing that winter coat. The boy straight up chokes on the bathwater, and he's totally not ready for this level of heat. He's freaking out, trying to act cool like, oh, so you want to bathe that towel? That must be a bath towel, huh? While she just strolls in and casually gets in. That awkward silence hits like a punch to the ears. She scoots in even closer and whispers his name like it's a secret only she can carry. Look at me right now, she demands, staring straight at him. And our boy's straight up blue-screened. I'm not even kidding. I'm a man, he's stammering, and my guy's fighting for his life against the horny. He totally freaks out, yells, wait, and goes, this is weird, then bolts from the bath like it's on fire because we've got guests. He straight up yeets himself out of there and leaves a wildly confused Urina standing there like, wait, what? Turns out every single twist was Sarasa's big master plan. She totally played the wing woman like a pro. But Urina's radiating a heavy, dark rage. She's livid that they left her dangling like that. Stare at that pouch, she's furious. Keigo snaps straight into damage control. Urina, I love you to death, but we've got guests. And the peanut gallery is just sizing him up like, nah, man, this is 100% on you. That night, Keigo sat there sorting through his thoughts, and the truth hit him hard. He couldn't just hide here forever. Honestly, it's not an exaggeration. This lone hermit finally found someone worth loving. He still remembers the moment he tracked down someone he could protect. He's not playing around anymore. He's sworn to protect her for real and cherish her like never before. Those loner days are done. He's finally locked in with a pack now. But he's got a gut feeling those punk-hiring goons were paid by none other than Heinrich Noble himself. He scrimped and saved like crazy, but now everything's changed. If those nobles come for him, his friends could get dragged into the chaos. He's not the same guy anymore. He's been totally changed. He's not alone anymore. He decides he's gonna corner them in the morning and finally talk about it. The very next day, my boy can't hold it in. He spills the tea and lays out every single detail, leaving not one thing out. He lays out the whole story, how he treated Bayer's arm with the op potion, and that's exactly when Irina gets snatched by thugs working for Heinrich's son. Once that kind of power moves, it's game over. Nobles don't have time to hide, they're sitting ducks, so they have to bail. Marugo, the absolute legend that he is, just glides over and slides you a carriage to use. This is just, Keigo blurts out. It's a map of the whole Lancaster kingdom. Because right now, they're officially on the run, and things are getting real fast. Marugo tells them to just go with it and actually enjoy the moment. Because this is Urina's very first trip. Then bam, he hits them with a total bombshell. After this, I'll make sure Heinrich gets overthrown with Juno and Elsa. You two just keep enjoying your little journey. What a bro. Keigo's completely stunned. He can only blurt, thank you. All right, decision made. Now grab your gear, pack it up, and hit the road. He lines up Sarasa's acquaintance to watch the chickens. He races to fetch Juno and Elsa, but he stops himself. No more dragging them into his mess. Now it's time to man up and say goodbye for real. So he scribbles them a letter to open later, because he knows the second he says it to their faces, he's gonna completely fall apart. He's gotta steel himself for what's coming next, with his waifu right by his side. Right when they're about to walk out the door, he snaps out a call to her. He yanks out a urethra flower. Then my man drops to one knee and hits me with the smoothest line I've ever heard. I love you for all eternity, so please become my earth. Bro is about to pop the question. He's freaking out like, oh no, I totally messed up that line. But she answers, I love you too, become my son and light up the whole earth. Then she grins and says, yeah, let's go. My guy busted out his homework because the urethra flower is the sign of a happy marriage. Then he finally let out this huge, relieved sigh once everything he said actually landed. They stage their own tiny marriage ceremony on the spot. Then they hurry off, like the night can't wait. And their priest, Ash the Fox, howls out his blessing and it's straight up peak wholesomeness. Everything about it is so ridiculously cute it breaks reality. They seal the deal with a kiss. This moment sparks his courage and keeps him moving forward. All right, no more stalling. He's out for real and he tells his friends, read the letters later. They yank him into the biggest, wettest group hug imaginable, and everyone's crying all at once. He knows that if he lingers one more second, the pain won't stop, it'll just get worse. He scrambles up onto the carriage, already convinced he'll never be able to return. What a gut punch of a goodbye. Marugo finally admits it. Yeah, their chances of pulling this off are miserably low. But they wave anyway, shouting their best wishes. Take care, guys. See you soon. Their friends slap one last mission into his hands. protect Uranusen for good, and live a happy life after. And just like that, their wild journey kicks off. Just a heartbeat later, Urina spots it. Wolves are tailing them hard. Relax, Keigo tells her. We've got comrades. He whips out the new self-defense tool he just bought, a slingshot he can supercharge with earth magic. Then he leans in and tells her, Heinrich is building an army of. No doubt about it, the target is him, and that overpowered regeneration potion is the real game changer. Irina snaps out her own slingshot and fires back, saying that potion has no business being handed out like that. They're making a beeline for Taranto. This road trip arc is officially going down. They pitched camp with the wolves posted on guard duty, so they could travel without fear. They're digging into camp food, and it's ridiculously good. They're staring at the rabbits and snow ferrets like, wow, this totally feels like a honeymoon, and Kay keeps thinking it. This guy S in straight-up romance mode, locked onto the Aurora while he soaks it in with his brand-new wife. The room turns freezing, so Urina starts stripping down right away. She swears she's ready for the cold, sure, Jan. They finally cram into the wagon's back, and he's already plotting to swap it for a fully covered one once they hit Taranto. They snuggle close under that beautiful moon, trading sweet good nights like promises. But then their sleep gets ripped apart by a strange, unsettling sound. Don't tell me boom monster attack. Oh no, it's the cackatrice. Thank God Urino's already got his bow drawn and ready. Keigo tells her to slow down and not burn herself out, but she snaps back, no way, I'm not alone anymore, we both have to survive. Keigo jerks open the stats screen. This chicken-lizard hybrid's got petrifying eyes and poison breath attacks, but its one true weakness is light. The wolves barrel forward, screaming for a fight and ready to tear into battle. Keigo snaps into action and blasts it instantly with a blazing light attack. The attack throws it into a blind fury, wolves surge and close, and Urina lines up a poison arrow and drops it. That kind of teamwork is straight-up insane. It's working, the cackatrice is getting slammed with relentless damage, but oh no, it's moments away from unleashing its poison breath. One blue wolf barrels through and shoves the others aside, eating the entire blast head-on, new guy, not the doggo. Keigo towers over the fallen wolf, and pure rage is blazing in his eyes. Urina carves out a perfect opening, and then he dives straight in to finish the job. He throws yet another brutal, massive strike, and finishes the job. He levels up again, and honestly, who even cares? He barrels straight toward that poisoned wolf with an antidote potion in hand. He tips the potion down its throat, praying he isn't racing against the clock. They're watching with raw panic in their eyes, praying nothing goes wrong. But then the screen fades, and it's like the world just buried him in a makeshift grave. They just lost a real one today, and it hurts. They drop to their knees at the grave, praying and thanking the wolf for keeping them safe. Tell me you didn't just want to stay by your master, too. The other wolves howl, mourning like their hearts are breaking. The requiem is short, but as the sun beats down on them, the cold somehow fuels Keigo's strength. So the journey rolls on, and no matter what, they'll never forget the comrade they lost. So this fancy villain is getting a status report, and my guy is absolutely not having it. Looks like Plan B blew up in his face and he's done hearing excuses. He wants results, period. And yeah, those hired goons Keigo's crew sent clapping. They didn't land a single thing worthy of S tier. The boss man snaps his collar into place and goes, all right, I'll handle it myself. Straight up Thanos vibes. Then he tells them by noon everything's getting gift-wrapped and ready to roll, no jokes. This guy's not playing around. He flashes a smug grin at his subordinate and orders him to get out. Then he summons his maid and just casually orders her to get 50 soldiers ready. Bro, 50. What are you planning to do? He strides away with that classic phew-foo-foo villain laugh, while his maid tries to get him to calm down. Turns out the big bad's master plan is ruthless. Grab Keigo's lover, lock her up as a hostage, and demand a ransom that's basically chaos. Our guy has to whip up a body parts regeneration potion. What an absolute dirtbag move. This villain, Juro, is tied to the Church Inquisition, basically a professional torture club with a fancy name, and he's already lined up something vicious just for our MC. This guy's playing 4D chess for real. He knows his own dad's gonna blow a fuse at his schemes, but who cares about dad when you've got the entire council and even the Adventurers Guild master eating out of your hand? He's flexing his power level. Yeah, and it's way over 9,000. He can't just off Keigo like that, because it'd look terrible, like bad PR levels of terrible, you know. So he's starting with Tony, slamming his own aide under house arrest for a clean, quiet wipeout of the whole crew. Meanwhile, on the good guy's side, Keigo slid in like a shadow and handed out letters, then warned everyone, for your eyes only. Marugo, the giant bald beast of a man, swings his door wide, and inside is this gut-punching, painfully embarrassing, heartfelt letter. Keigo fires back like, "All right, we're taking down the big bad, but let's not go full murder hobo, got it?" What? He goes all soft and sentimental, thanking Marugo for hooking him up with cheap gear back when he was a level 1 total noob. And yeah, no cap, that gear was the only reason he didn't get wiped by some trash mobs. Keigo tells Marugo, "You're the real deal, staying right by my side, never prying, just solid as a rock." He tells Marugo to keep everyone safe in town, and above all, make sure his girl Saraso is smiling. And yeah, this whole thing suddenly feels like a goodbye letter. And yup, he rips into that letter and admits he's not coming back. He can't handle long goodbyes, bro, straight up feels. The rest of the party is huddled over their letters, too. Juno reads the exact same message. And when it hits, one thing is crystal clear. Keigo isn't coming back. He flashes back to that moment, both of them teaming up to take down a caccatrice, ending in the ultimate high five. Keigo admits he was genuinely happy for Juno when she finally hooked up with Elsa. But yeah, he was still a mess, cause he'd been so down bad for Sarasa that it totally shattered him. The letter straight up says he's skipping town for a spot up north, and then orders Juno to watch out for the new girl, Uranusen. He tells him to make Elsa happy, and no matter what, don't you dare let the girls think you're gone for good or they'll fall apart. He even hands over his cabin for them to live in, then swears he'll save Juno the second trouble hits. What an absolute Chad. Next up, Sarasa tears into her letter while hugging their fluffy mascot, Ash, for dear life, and Keigo slides in a straight-up lie, promising he'll be back. Oof, that's gonna sting so bad later. He grabs her hand and tells her, "Thanks for getting me into the Adventurers Guild. I'd be homeless without you." He even drops some pro-gamer tips for her on how to take down this giant sea urchin monster. Its weakness is lightning, no joke. And right before he left, he dropped off a wild parting gift, chickens. Yeah, a whole flock of them. Elsa gets her letter next, and Keigo basically gives her and Juno his blessing to use his cabin, straight up calling Juno a good dude. Man's playing matchmaker from beyond the grave. We get hit with a flashback. He storms out while Elsa begs him to stay, and he brushes her off like, "This is only temporary." But dude, my heart just breaks for him. Back in the present, Juno and Elsa huddle over their letters, and Keigo even left a full guide on how to prep raw uni. This man's priorities are completely unhinged. Elsa blushes and swears she won't say goodbye, so they all decide to clean his house while he's still gone, because this is the kind of sad that breaks your heart. Marugo just can't handle it. He snaps into full rage mode, screaming, "Son of a bitch," and then smashes a table. He's snapping at the seams, and he pins it all on that bloodied Heinrich like he personally caused the whole disaster. He grabs a pen and starts scribbling down every single person Keigo has ever helped, while fury builds in his chest, his. His mind is razor-sharp, set on one goal, crush that bastard Heinrich. Then bam, the POV snaps straight to Ash, the fluffy little menace, and he starts introducing himself. Turns out Ash can see people's soul colors, and he's freaking out because this old dude's soul is actually leaking out. When Keigo and his new waifu, Yurina, are together, their soul colors fuse like a raging bonfire, and boom, the ship is officially confirmed. Ash drags his feet while he leaves Sarasa and Elsa behind, but the moment his new blue wolf uncles show up, fun takes over fast. He's handing one of them a chunk of meat, straight from his master like a precious gift. The wolf starts spilling wild lore about a 10-year-old god tree. Turns out when a wolf dies, it merges with a tree, like that's their whole sacred religion. Ash is like, huh? And the wolf hits back with, "Yeah, it means we don't ever back down from a fight," and Ash just stares like, "Sure, bro, whatever you say." This wolf has become Ash's new sensei, and right now, training is about to kick off. We watch them bow at a grave they built for the caccatrice they murdered, their respect hanging heavy in the air. The wolves tear the truth wide open. Keigo's soul has ascended, but only after they drop a jaw-breaking bombshell. The head wolf jabs a claw toward Keigo's vision and snaps at Ash. "This human is your mother's enemy," plot twist. The wolves lay out their rules and make it crystal clear. They only obey the strongest. Ash can barely picture his mom's face, but he never forgets one thing. She went after Keigo, and Ash had to end it to protect himself. Ash totally gets it. This is an ice guy where only the strongest survive, so yeah, that's just how it is. So there's no revenge scheme here, because he's not even mad. For real, he's not stopping his fight for Keigo anytime soon, because he's op as hell, and on top of that, he's got a gentle heart and a killer soul color too. Best review ever. The other wolves are fired up the moment you bark the order, young lord. Cut to Keigo and Yurina rolling into Taranto, the new city. and they're doing everything they can to stay under the radar as they make their way to Keigo's safe house. The city stretches for miles and swarms with people, so they've got to move smart or risk getting crushed in the crowd. Yorina's been battered by days on the road, so Keigo, pure gentleman through and through, tracks down an inn for her. He pays a local kid to keep an eye on their wagon, then grabs a room for two so she can finally crash and get the real rest she's been begging for. The room's surprisingly awesome. There's even a full kitchen and a legit shower, and it screams serious glow-up. Keigo starts cooking dinner, telling her to just chill and take it easy. But Yorina is totally down bad. She wraps her arms around him from behind and murmurs, "Please don't run away today." And boom, things just turned super spicy. Next day, Keigo's out hunting for his new ride, and right there he spots a sweet-covered wagon. He snatches it for 198 gold. Yeah, it's pricey, but it's totally worth every coin. He sizes up the horse, boy or girl, and the look on his face is pure gold. He decides to call her the May Queen, and the kid selling it to him instantly tears into him for the worst naming job imaginable. El Mao. He convinces Yorina to help haul their stuff, and the kid shoots back with a cheeky tip. And the kid's just like, "I don't have any." The next morning, he leans in and asks if she slept well, and she goes beet red, blushing like her whole body is on fire. She blushes as she nervously shoves a note into his hands. It's her wish list. She just wants to jet off somewhere far and see the whole world with him. Keigo's all in, "Let's go," he says, yanking our hand, and just like that, the date kicks off. They roll up to the local festival, soak in the street performers, and just soak up the good vibes like it's the best day ever. They step into the circus, and both of them light up with huge smiles. It's this non-stop montage of them being ridiculously cute, smiling, laughing, and living their best life together. The ship just ripped out of the harbor, and everyone's watching it go. After their date, they bolt out of the inn, because staying in one spot any longer feels way too dangerous. But as they head out, the kid who sold them the wagon suddenly freezes, then blurts, "My premonition came true," and yeah, it sounds about as ominous as it gets. And as our new favorite couple rides off into the sunset, totally oblivious, we realize they just barely dodged a major threat. Now tell me that's not the ultimate cliffhanger. Alright, so this fancy pants villain is straight up unraveling, completely losing it. He's not just mad, he's straight up malding because Keigo's now a wanted man, and the second our hero's honor gets shredded. He stares at that wanted poster like, "Lucky you, huh?" Keigo isn't some trash tier mob you can just farm for X. Villain Heinrich starts rubbing his chin, weighing whether he should slap a bounty on our MC, then he smirks like, "Nah, that's lame." Because a clean RNG win would be way too easy. He's got his sights on the op potion he's been hoarding, claiming it's for his eyes only. To catch Keigo off guard, your man has to sneak in. He's got some poor girl hogtied, squeezing her for intel on where our boy is. And this guy means business. He's about to unleash his whole army, screaming that once the chase starts, Keigo won't even have time to slip away in a carriage. Then he snaps into full psycho mode, hauling out the threat of the torture core to wreck Yorina right in front of Keigo just to shatter his spirit. Bro's seriously down bad. This absolute clown is cackling to himself, then orders a maid to get a horse ready and blurts, "I need a new woman." What a total creep. He's seething with fury, swearing he'll make Keigo pay for every bit of this humiliation. Meanwhile, we switch to Joni, an absolute unit who looks like he crawled straight out of a post-apocalyptic punk band. Then he steps in and introduces himself as part of the Pleasure District Mafia. Turns out this guy has been a slum kid his whole life, scrapping over trash piles like it's the only game he's ever known. Honestly, his whole personality is built around that glorious mohawk. His goons hype it up non-stop, like that hair alone powers him up or something. One day, Joni and his crew of 7 demons roll up and take a special request. A sketchy old guy with a Gandalf beard flicks you this huge stack of gold like it's nothing. But just when you think it can't get worse, these clowns completely botch the mission, and Joni ends up losing his precious mohawk. Seriously, it's a full-blown tragedy. That old man is fuming, but he hands them a third shot, and just like that, he spills that their new target is none other than our boy, Keigo Okuda. Getting a few horses is all it takes to send these fools into a full-blown panic, and their courage skyrockets from there. Joni lost it. He's dead convinced that if he catches Keigo, his mohawk will magically pop right back, and the whole time he's grinning like it's already done. Now things get wild. 3 factions are in the mix. The creepy noble, our hero Keigo, and this mohawk-obsessed goon squad. Joni's boy yanks him aside like, "Yo, Aniki, hold up, I've got a plan." They huddle up fast, right there, like it's do or die. Whatever the plan was, it lights a fire under the whole crew, Gear up, saddle tight, and they charge off to Taranto, screaming like they're headed for a music festival. And now, time for a long-awaited waifu backstory. First up, we meet Urina back when she worked at a pub called the Cage of Butterflies. She tells him they treat everyone there like family, straight-up found family magic, like your home in trope form. Yeah, she's hauling around some seriously heavy emotional baggage. Turns out she had a big secret, an older brother named Cito. Their childhood was pure nightmare fuel, an abusive father who screamed like the walls were going to break. It got so brutal their mom took her own life, and their dad turned around and blamed the kids, pure chaos. So her brother, the absolute Chad, snatched her hand and they bolted, sprinting away from that monster like their lives depended on it. They got cast out onto the streets and clawed out a living in the slums. Her brother would straight up steal just so she'd have food, then hit her with, "Eat up, staying healthy matters," like a real one. He'd even spin wild fairy tale lies about a giant white bird that brought him food, anything to shield her from the brutal truth. But life on the streets finally caught up. Her brother spiraled, got sick, and collapsed hard. He didn't make it. All alone, Urina had thrown in the towel and just stared at the road, waiting for death, until someone finally reached out a hand to her. A voice cut in, asking if she was alone, and then demanding to know her name. This kind stranger promised her a job, swept her away in a heartbeat, and Urina still remembers that warm, rock-solid embrace. The one who saved her was the pub owner, Josephine, this buff little grandma, who fed her a warm meal, tucked her into a clean bed, and let her recover in comfort. When Urina finally snapped out of it, her vision cleared, and there was her savior. She crumpled instantly, tears pouring as she cried out for her mama. Josephine just cradled her close and let her sob everything out, no holding back. After that, Urina dove into working at the pub. But at first she bombed hard because she was still just a kid. But the whole crew wrapped her in safety, accepted her without a single question about her past, and even helped hide her scars by tattooing over them. Step by step in this safe, loving place, her emotional wounds finally started to heal. Mama Josephine even taught herself how to fight, and somehow turned into a force so scary that most guys didn't dare mess with her. Mama handed her a special weapon and promised it would shield her from every evil soul out there. Because apparently nobles snatching kids is basically normal here, and Mama Josephine's the GOAT, saving her again by empowering her too. To thank her from the bottom of her heart, Irina picked up embroidery and stitched an absolutely gorgeous hat for Mama's birthday. Mama Josephine lit up with joy and yanked her into a massive, squeezingly tight hug. Around that time, she finally heard the news. Her abusive father was dead, and she told it at her brother's grave, the truth landing like a long-awaited weight lifting off her chest. As she hit adulthood, she kept adding tattoos, layer after layer, until the last of her scars finally disappeared. And then, out of nowhere, her heart got hijacked. She fell for him head first. It was Keigo, our guy, and the moment he showed up, he felt nothing like any man she'd ever met. She could feel his kindness in every second, like warmth wrapping around her. He treated her like a real person, not some thing, and that's when you could tell he was a true gentleman. She saw him as pure as could be, like that giant white bird her brother always talked about. Their love bloomed in the snow, fueled by those sweet little goodbyes that hit right in the heart. During the very first snowfall, they finally come clean and confess their feelings to each other. When she stood with him, every ounce of her fear of men vanished, like it had been burned out of her since day one. But she had a secret. Her whole body was laced with tattoos, and she was terrified he'd recoil if he ever saw them. At the pub, her friends grabbed her attention and told her straight up, don't lock away secrets from the man she loves. She tried to lure him in the bath, but my guy was so rock-solid respectful he wouldn't even glance. So the confession totally bombed because his respect level was basically maxed out. Then out of nowhere, he sweeps in and proposes calling her his Earth, then begs to be her son. Bro is seriously smooth. She said yes without hesitation, promising him she'd love him forever. And for her, it was the happiest moment of her entire life. He threw himself in front of those monsters to shield her during their whole journey, straight up dependable, no questions asked. So at last, inside an inn in Taranto, she finally tore open her past and told him everything. She crumpled into tears, bracing herself for the moment he'd leave her behind for good. But instead of walking away, he snapped to her defense and started whipping up some seriously weird potion. He handed her the drink, and boom, her whole body lit up while every tattoo and scar instantly disappeared. She was totally stunned, because her amazing husband had turned out to be a real-life magician. He stared her down and swore he'd protect her with everything in him, heart and soul, and honestly, that is peak husband material. Right when they're finally alone together, a wagon delivery guy storms in and just stands there, totally stunned by the way they're openly going at it in public. And that's where the flashback cuts off. Yurina just sits there, grinning to herself, drowning in how much she loves her man, Keigo Okuda. Back in the present, Keigo can't stop smiling, because the fact that Irina trusted him enough to spill her whole past makes him feel unbelievably happy. He's riding that warm, proud feeling in his chest, and he's ready to blast forward and keep their journey heading east. He tells himself tattoos are just fashion, so why did he get so shocked when she finally showed him? Because she was, completely naked. Our boy's kinda dense, but at least his heart's in the right place. Life in this brand new world has treated him way better than he ever expected. Honestly, he can't complain. He's completely smitten, convinced he'll never find anyone as wonderful as Yurina again. Yeah, my guy is down bad, and it's honestly kind of legendary. They decide to set up camp for the night. But right then, their tiny fox-bet senses screamed. Something huge had just exploded out of the snow. It's a colossal sea urchin monster, and Kei charges in like, "Yeah, that's right, now we're getting that bread." Yurina slams it with a massive spell, and Keigo blurts, "Nice support." They tear it down in flawless sync, then throw out a crushing high five, pure relationship goals. After the fight, they act like it's no big deal and start gearing up for the night. She's already getting the bath ready while he chops and cooks dinner. And my guy straight up whips up real-looking unipasta from the monster they just crushed. This man's cooking skill is maxed out. They're both blown away by just how insanely good it tastes. It's this insanely wholesome moment where they sit by the campfire and feed each other like the whole world's cozy. Later, Keigo climbed out of the bath. He spots Yurino sprawled out cold, completely wrecked from the day's brutal journey. As he tucks her in, she sleep-talks his name and whispers, "I don't feel lonely anymore. My heart, man." Keigo starts spiraling into deep thoughts, convinced her tattoos were a shield. And then she realizes Marugo, her friend, is inked up too, tattoos meant to keep his late wife close. He's still beating himself up for how painfully awkward he was the first time she tried to show him. He's blown away by her strength, because after clawing her way out of the slums and growing up in a pleasure district, she still smiles, and he knows it all happened thanks to the incredible people who stood by her. He cheers for Mama Josephine's crew, praising them like the real found family they're proving to be. He makes a vow to himself. One day he'll drag Yurina back and show her her real home. He watches her sleep and can't help thinking, if she were a real person, she'd have not one flaw. I don't think I'd ever crash and burn this hard for someone, like, for real. 2196-8. So yeah, our boy Heigo finally dings a level up after he wipes out that nasty giant spider. Turns out it was a purple tarantula, an absolute high-level nightmare that blasts poison thorns out of nowhere, and honestly, that sounds like the worst possible vibe, like, yeah, this area as a whole get wrecked situation. He's gotta roll up his sleeves and tear into it, harvest the poison gland and rip out the heart, only so he can follow whatever wild plan this is for Yurina's storybook or something. Because yeah, my man is asterisk down bad. He storms back to the wagon grinning like, "Yo, monster's toast, I'm back." But he stumbles in and finds his waifu. She's not okay at all, coughing like her lungs are on fire and looking totally wrecked. He grabs her forehead and, whoa, she's burning up like a fever fire, and yeah, chief, this is bad. Well, the travel plans are dead for good. There's no way they can move with her looking like this. Igo tries feeding her a stamina potion, but it does absolutely nothing against her common cold. Because of course it doesn't. So he snaps and pulls out some otherworldly medicine, praying this RNG finally lands. Dude jumps into chef mode, and as he works, he remembers that advice about chopping herbs and tossing them into the food to help digestion. Yeah, he's stressed out, but he's gotta try it anyway. He's flashing back to the day he was sick and felt totally useless. But now he's finally got someone to protect, and yeah, this is his turn to be the Chad. Even Ashes got sense enough to tell him straight up, "Eat now, keep your strength up, so you can heal her back to health." He wakes Irina up softly just to feed her some soup, and my guy is being an absolute gentleman about it. She's all flustered and apologizing, insisting she has a weak body. But he shuts that down fast and refuses to hear any of that sad talk. Now he's like, "Forget it, you're good. Just eat, sleep, and you'll be fine." Like boom, caretaker mode is fully activated. He tucks her in for the night, tells Ash to watch over her, and then slips out while the two of them handle what comes next. A lone boy braves the freezing dark, hunting specific medicinal herbs like his life depends on it. His dedication is straight up unreal. But while he's staring, his brain snaps into overdrive, whipping up a storm of nasty thoughts. Why'd she get sick? Am I cursed? And bro, just chill. He snaps himself back to reality. then forces his focus onto what he can do for her right now. He's so buried in his own thoughts that the instant a bat flits by, he jerks out of his skin. Because that's the truth. Anxiety isn't just a feeling, it's a whole mood. Later, Urena finally jolts awake, and she's sketching a picture book. Higo exhales in pure relief because she's feeling a little better. Then she snaps up and strides right into the freezing snow. Are you serious right now? What are you even doing? He sprints after her, panicking like crazy. Then it hits him, he spots it, her grave, her name carved into the stone. Boom, our main character bolts upright and screams like his soul just hit the floor. It was just a nightmare, thank God. He snaps his eyes open, spots Urena sleeping peacefully, and that relief smashes into him like a truck. He starts tearing up and blames himself, screaming idiot, for having that messed up dream. Bro was not ready for that emotional damage. He stays up the whole night, guarding her like she's his whole world, and it finally hits. Major realizes just how much she means to him. Morning finally hits and he's just collapsed, passed out while still sitting upright. He leans in and plants a sweet good morning kiss on her forehead to wake her up, nice and smooth. He spots the sweat pouring off her and realizes that chill is only going to get worse. And yeah, it's time for the most awkward anime moment of all. He's wiping down the sick girl he's crushing on, desperately trying not to look creepy, practically blurting like, "I'm not gonna assault a sick patient." Yeah, that wild blush spreading across his face, and the steam rolling off him says it all, my dude. She tells him, dude, you should probably swap out those sweaty clothes, and he just goes, yeah, good call. Good news, she's starving, which basically screams she's finally healing. He tells her to get changed while he whips up food. On the menu, hot milk packed with detox herbs, and a piece of bread to bring that health bar back up fast. Then talk about that insane RNG. Ash strolls in like it's nothing with a freaking rabbit, and suddenly dinner gets a full-on glow-up. They're about to whip up that thing with a mountain of garlic to blast their stamina back. Urena's gonna go wild for this gourmet feast. That scent is so mouth-watering, it lures in their massive wolf buddies from wherever they're hiding. They're ditching the whole terror beast vibe and acting like giant, slobbery puppies, whining and begging for scraps. The whole squad drops into their seats for a meal, and the moment Urena can taste the food, you can practically see her recovery racing ahead. With their supplies packed and their health fully back, our eloping couple finally snaps back into action and hits the road again. But this road is pure drudgery, and our boys trapped chatting with those little snowbirds just to kill time. Suddenly, a massive serpent monster erupts from the snow, and it's already done something to one of you scrubs again, like seriously. He snaps at his crew to hang back, no way he's letting last time repeat itself, and then he barks at the wolves to sit, behaving like perfect good boys. Then he throws a signal to Ash Yoshi, time to unleash the combo attack. He rips loose a colossal wind blast that tears through the air, and absolutely annihilates the serpent, right as the crowd erupts in claps. But Brian didn't level up, what a total ripoff, he just shrugs like, "Hey, it is what it is," and moves on. Ureno's stomach churns at that snake, but Keigo shrugs it off, he's remembering serpent meat sells for a huge payday. He throws it on the grill, and it comes out looking like pure top-tier glazed anagi, so good it practically makes your mouth water. Urena's like, no way, but Keigo shuts it down and confirms it, glazed serpent. They all dig in, because using spoons is for chumps apparently. And holy crap, this is unreal, they're absolutely demolishing it, like straight up crushing every bite. He goes dreaming up his own restaurant, because this food is unreal even with just salt, so he pushes the grill even harder to crank up Urena's stamina. A little while later, the whole party is sprawled out in a giant food coma, fully knocked out cold. Once Urena's temperature finally crashes back to normal, she's basically back to 100%. All better, no question. Our dude hustles and makes the beds while she slips into the bath. Finally, life is starting to feel normal for the both of them. He slips into the outdoor bath alone, sinks under the warm water, and stares up at the insane night sky. Straight up, it's the perfect vibe. He's sitting there like, remember when I was a hikikomori shut-in? And now he's chasing wild adventures, basically a full-on glow-up. He grabs the letter Urena left him, and my guy, she doesn't beat around the bush. She comes right out and says, I love you. He tackles them into a big, cozy hug, and when he says, I love you, she hits back with, I love you too. And yeah, this is peak wholesome content. They all pile into bed at last, settling back into their warm, normal, happy routine. Meanwhile, we cut to OG Chad, Downy Eye. He's telling the story of how Keigo's miracle potion healed a man's arm. He and a fellow noble swore to keep the potion locked down, because the other nobles would have flipped into full goblin mode the second they heard about it. Right as they were on guard, the enemy struck out of nowhere. An ambush hit them hard. Turns out Donia's own vice-captain, Plutus, was the traitor. He sold the secret like a low blow. Donnie, I got captured and banished, and I felt utterly powerless. The very last thing his master ordered was to protect Keigo. So now that's the quest he's obsessed with, no matter what. He tracks down Juno and Uruza and spills every juicy secret like it's hot, while Bayer runs stuck under house arrest, and the new monster, Heinrich, is actively hunting Keigo. They're crushed by what just happened. They can't risk going with Donii. Heinrich is totally spying on them. So they swing into action and hook him up with a carriage packed supplies, and even that fancy dagger left behind in a keg, real friends right there. Donii bolts out, determined to carry out his master's final wish and track down our boy. They send him off with nothing but safe travel wishes, and Donii gets hit deep, truly moved by their loyalty. He can't help but think, damn, Keigo's got to be the best kind of friend. Donii kicks off his hunt and storms into the Adventurers Guild in Taranto, hunting for answers. And what does he spot next? A full-blown wanted poster for Keigo and Urina, total dirty move. But Donii sees it as his moment. He's gonna fake accepting the quest to grab intel without looking suspicious. Big brain move. He hears the twist, sheesh. They'd stayed in town just a few days back, then switched over to a 2-horse carriage. You even score a tip from a local kid. Keigo's dying to hunt a water monster, and Donii clocks it instantly. It's a total misdirection. He snaps it all into place. Kei is probably racing toward the nearest river. Before he takes off, he shoots a bird carrying a coded message back to Juno and Arusa, so they stay fully in the know. Racing along the river, Donii spots exactly what he needs: wagon tracks and the lifeless shells of those giant urchins, and he knows he's locked onto the right trail. He's convinced he's headed straight for Berea Zuton. Then he trips over the colossal corpse of the serpent Keigo slayed. Yeah, that's my boy, he thinks. But hold up, something's seriously off. Way too many merchants are suddenly piled on this road, and it smells like a trap. It's a total trap. Cut to the main villain, Heinrich. He's losing it, laughing his butt off because he leaked the intel on purpose just to bait Donii into walking straight into it. He's so sure he's a genius, flexing 4D chess moves like everyone else is playing checkers. Turns out his spies have dressed up as those merchants themselves, shadowing Donii every step of the way, straight to Keigo. The moment they get the signal, his army charges in like a storm. This guy's completely addicted to power and cash. He's eyeing a golden tree like a jackpot, planning to use it to get everything he wants. He's already setting up the checkmate on Keigo. This creep is totally deranged. He's fantasizing about capturing Urina to blackmail Keigo into obeying him. Also, he can build his own empire of nobles. He yanks out a strange artifact, drops to his knees, and begs Zerarian for divine protection. He's dead sure his tiny cat-and-mouse game is about to blow up into its final showdown. Then we get a glimpse of this loser's dad, Bayer Unluster, the ex-ruler who once held the power. So yeah, his own son has him stuck under house arrest. Brutal, oof. The dad just sits there, staring into space like, where did I mess up my kid's education? He still remembers when Heinrich was just a little kid, sweet, honest, and totally adorable. Now he's crumpled in tears, convinced he's a total failure as a father. He's completely losing it, screaming his lungs out for someone named Melty-chan. He snarls at the guards, furious that they're keeping him from getting healed. Yeah, this guy has totally snapped. He's yelling her name out the window at full volume like the whole world needs to hear it. Then we finally meet Jero, Heinrich's butler, because he's been in the story since he was a kid. Jero's convinced the dad is a complete idiot. He basically wanted Heinrich to step in and take over, like ASAP. But ever since Heinrich grew up, he shut his ears to every single one of Jero's warnings. The real problem is this cult-like religion. Heinrich is a hardcore, super zealous believer. Turns out their god rules over taxes, and tossing in money is treated like a sacred ritual. So yeah, the whole setup screams tax scam. That's why Heinrich looks at Keigo like a total scoundrel, sure. The man rakes in money, but he's dodging the crazy taxes. Even Jero, who's a believer himself, can't ignore the creeping doubt anymore about whether these teachings are the real deal. But hey, orders are orders, so our guy and his waifu are out on a date, and the vibes are absolutely immaculate. Yo, my dude is freaking out because he just spotted sugar in a port city. Apparently that's a massive deal, and now he's already plotting to cook up a whole storm. Next thing you know, he's whipping up an oyster-like sauce, grilling outside in the only spot he's got. And bam, it's a full-blown oyster yakitori blowout, and Keigo is in his absolute element, sizzling up treats for his girl, Urina. But hold up, They spot a slum stretch, and there, crouched behind a corner, is a little kid peeking out, looking like an orphan, and the whole vibe crashes into despair. The kiddo snatches onto Urena like it's instant, and our MC just freezes, completely rattled, eyes wide. He must have blurted something dumb, because the second he did, he got hit with face bombs yelling, "I'm an idiot." Like, bro, read the room. Urena spots what's happening to the orphans, and her eyes start welling up. She can't help it, it's just too heartbreaking. Keigo's getting all choked up too, but Urena snaps him back into reality. It's not your fault. And wow, these two are falling hard like fast. Then Urena pulls a total Chadette move. She hands the orphan girl the water dagger Keigo gave her. A kid gets this op weapon? Mad respect. The dagger snaps the water crystal clean in an instant, and the kid goes wide-eyed like, "No way, that's a straight-up top-tier item." Keigo refuses to be useless, so he hands her some of the food he cooked. He can't just walk away, so he decides to stay by her side and give her a cozy place to crash, even if it's only for a few days. They snag her a single room at the inn, and before she can even relax, the innkeeper spills some serious lore. Turns out Urena used to live in the slums herself. This slams into Keigo like a wrecking ball, because he just realizes that growing up in peaceful Japan left him completely clueless about the brutal hardships waiting for him. It slams him with the harsh truth. My guy finally gets it. He's been ignorant all this time. Right when they finally hit that moment, a voice blasts across the room, "Hey, that's you." And boom, they've been found. Turns out it's their buff bro, Doni Ison. And the second he sees they're all right, relief hits his face like a punch. He drops the bad news. Heinrich the villain is on their tail, and poor Bayer Sama-'s been snatched up. They've got to bolt like now. So they fired up their journey, riding alongside Doni Ison, captain of the Bayer, during family nights. And yeah, they're trying to stay under the radar, but we both know that won't last. One night, Ash the pet wolf lets out a low, vicious growl. And you already know what that means, it's ambush time. And yep, it's pure chaos. They're totally swarming him like a whole army charging on horseback. The enemy finally closes the gap, and it does not look good for them at all. Total chaos, horses everywhere, and one beast almost stomps a kid right under its hooves. And to make it even worse, their squad has a magic user, and that spooky hooded creep too. This situation just went from bad to downright terrifying. Then this old commander-looking guy steps in and orders the mage to calm down. Yep, right there is the final boss of this whole area. Before anyone can even blink, a pack of goons snatches Urena right off the ground. The commander saunters up, grinning like he already owns the outcome, bragging that he's done his homework. Then he demands they drop their weapons and surrender on the spot. Yeah, there are like 100 of them for every one of these guys, so the odds are straight up cooked. And then a bad guy snaps into motion and slashes Ash's pet wolf. Like, what the hell, right? Keigo snaps completely. He screams at the top of his lungs while straining to pull Ash back, because he knows there's no way he can win this. With everything on the line, he goes for the classic hero play. You want me, don't you? Then leave everyone else alone. He lets his weapon hit the ground, and that's it, the fight's done. The entire squad just slumped there, totally crushed. Well, yeah, that's a GG, game over, straight up. Our boy and his waifu are strapped up in a wagon, and that honeymoon elopement he bragged about. Yeah, it's officially over. Keigo is fully convinced he's on a one-way ticket straight to the afterlife. But hold up, trouble's about to get rescue level serious. Because Marugo, the big bro in the cavalry, is furiously scribbling a letter, plotting how to save his friend. It's the start of a brand new chapter, baby. He's forging an entire resistance with his comrades, right there from the ground up. The plan has two missions: rescue Bayer on Sama and knock Heinrich off his throne for good. Marugo's ride or die for his friends, so hardcore it even dares to put his own family in danger. But his wife, she's an absolute queen, like, helping a friend is what we do, so stop acting like strangers. Total legend. She's not just helping, she's crafting the Resistance's logo too, and honestly, you can't help but love that. And yeah, she's a merchant with a web of connections, so she's the one who grabs the supplies and keeps the money flowing. This woman is the Resistance's MVP, period. She even bullies her dad into letting them use the inn as their secret hideout. Her dad sits on the town council, and he's fully ready to help his daughter's friend. This whole family's got support for days. Marugo's been on the move too, rushing into the pleasure district to beg the mama for help, teaming up with a fighter named Juno. And now, the whole town's about to throw down. The mama's all in now. Keigo just handed her a huge sack of gold, and she's already gearing up to back them with her girls. Marugo's finally understood. Out here, you can't ever underestimate anybody because the city will bite back. He starts hunting down adventurers he already knows. then spreads the word like wildfire about what's going down. And because Keigo and his dad were straight up good to everyone, the adventurers jumped in on the spot. No hesitation at all. Turns out Keigo just saved a whole pile of adventurers, and now they're furious and itching to repay him by kicking some serious butt. But as soon as the ordinary townspeople hear the old lord got arrested, they snap and start blaming Heinrich too. Public support piles up fast and furious. Even the local bakers are rushing in to help, whispering that Keigo's been acting way too weird. Before long, everyone's fired up, fed up with the oppression and itching to strike back. Marugo is stunned, because in this town it's like every single person is linked together, and they've truly brought him back into the fold. They stamp their official start with a blue wolf fur bracelet. Marugo straps it on and shows off like crazy, flexing his muscles for his boy Keigo no matter where he's at. Yeah, the bromance is the real deal, folks. At last, the day finally hits. Marugo steps up and officially declares himself the leader of the resistance, the Blue Troop. He hypes up the huge crowd, then swears he'll beat Heinrich and drag Bayer back onto Sama. He hammers home Heinrich's selfish crimes, and the crowd instantly snarls, like they're itching to go to war. He hammers the truth into them. This fight is for Keigo and Yurina, and he calls out everyone they all recognize by name. Anyone who's with them slaps on the mark. Fist up in the air, let's go. They all drop into a bow, instantly accepting him as their leader. Marugo can almost hear Keigo's voice in his head snapping. Took you long enough, buddy. That night the mission kicks off. First target, break Bayer out of Sama's mansion. The mansion is swarming with guards, but the resistance has a secret weapon hidden up its sleeve. The ladies from the pleasure district drift up with sweet smiles, acting like they're your best friends. They hauled in a present, one massive barrel packed with booze for the soldiers who never stopped working. The guards start to push back, but the madam smiles and charms them into backing down. Yeah, these guys are totally cooked. There's no shot for them at all. The second they lock eyes, they're instantly rattled beyond belief. Their plan hit dead on. Those girls slipped sleeping pills into the ale, and the guards dropped like rocks, making this the easiest infiltration ever. They'd already knocked the guards out cold, so the adventurers bolted forward and took point. Let's go. Back at the town council, Heinrich frowns because two of his cronies are already late, and he can't figure out why. The hints are screaming it, those guys aren't coming. Suddenly the door swings open, and Heinrich's father strides in, right beside the resistance leaders. And you can feel it. Something huge is about to go down. His dad locks eyes with him, and pure disappointment hits like a punch to the chest. He basically tells his son, I've got no morals, and remember, every move you make comes back on you. Heinrich tries to act tough and demands proof, but his dad just cuts him down instantly, roasting him for having zero shame. The villain tries to cash in the retired card, but your dad shuts him down instantly. He snaps his fingers and demands a vote on the spot to decide who rules the town, because this is a full-on political coup. The council members slam their quills to the page and start scribbling their votes. The numbers get counted, and the outcome is locked in. Heinrich clocks the result and instantly panics. No way, he yells, and the truth hits hard. Bro, you lost, it's done. His dad slams down the rule. Stay home for a while, and that's it. Heinrich just got grounded by his own father. The good guys all drop to their knees for Bayer and Sama, because he's back in the driver's seat now. Bayer hands the whole spotlight to the Blue Troop, straight up calling them his friends, and you can practically see the awe on his face. To kick things off, he digs into his own money and officially turns the Blue Troop into the town guard, then hands them council member rights on the spot. That's a massive win for the rebellion, total victory, and you can feel the bond between people getting stronger with every second. All right, so our boy and his crew are headed straight for Lestertown, and yeah, the vibe is straight up knotted. My guy's out here trying to look like a stone-cold Chad for his girl, but deep down he's straight up terrified and breaking in real time. He's like, even if I lose everything, I'll still protect you, Renasan. And yeah, we see you trembling, bro, but yo, he's got the spirit and you can't deny that. Suddenly, the entire caravan screeches to a brutal stop. A dude in a killer cloak struts out like he pays rent here and goes, so, what's the deal? Right then, some low-level goon yanks Yurina and presses a knife to her throat. Like, seriously, dude, that's not cool. But hold up, mister, your cool cloak isn't with them. He snaps out a letter, eyes blazing, and practically begs, please, relax, I'm here to help. Everyone's staring like, what is happening? And then, bam, this random dude in a sick cloak steps in like he's got answers. RMC read that letter, and boom, Heinrich, the big bad, got knocked off. Come on, Marugo and the boys actually pulled it off. Turns out Cloak Guy isn't just some random mystery. He's the vice captain for one of their allies, quietly scouting intel on the DL. What a legend. Our boy is so pumped he slaps the dude into a celebratory fist bump. Pure bro energy, no question. With that win secured, the whole carriage explodes into cheers, because they've finally broken free from Tyrant Heinrich. MC even clinks drinks with some random dude who straight up admits he ditched Heinrich just to reclaim his mohawk. Respect the loyalty to the drip. With everyone throwing their hands up and celebrating, they finally roll back toward Lester. Yeah, the vibes are absolutely flawless. Our boy just stares out at the snowy wilderness, like his mind's stuck on the squad. And boom, reunion time. He slams through the door like, I'm back, and the whole gang's right there. Uruza, Sawasa, Marugo, Juno. Even the tiniest puff of ash is ricocheting off the walls like it can't stand still. It's pure high fives and well done energy, as our boy proudly declares that his elopement with Yurina worked. Marugo's jaw dropped as Yoshi cranked up the feast and partied like it was the best night of his life. They pull up to Arousa's inn, convinced this is gonna be a laid-back hangout. Every last person in town crams in for a huge surprise party, yelling their names at the top of their lungs. Welcome back, heroes. Yurena's mama barrels in for a hug so tight it looks like it could crack a spine. The entire crew's cracking up together, and it feels like they've officially become a real found family. MC suddenly gets all choked up and sentimental, like the feels hit him out of nowhere. Then bam, plot twist smacks him so hard he staggers, and you guys are absolutely insane for thinking this is normal. All this time, this entire inn has been the Resistance's secret hideout. They just crushed the Resistance, and now the squad's leveling up, turning into the town's official vigilante corps, with him proudly getting his very own membership badge. Marugo's just stepped up as the new leader. Juno's got the vice leader title. Talk about a total glow-up. The party goes completely off the rails, and our boy is just drinking it all in, wide-eyed and thrilled. He starts cracking up with tears, realizing just how many people truly got his back, because now the man is ugly crying straight into his beer. But he flashes a laugh like a shield, desperately hiding just how wrecked he really feels. By the time the night's over, he's totally wasted, and poor Yurina has to drag him all the way to bed. Next morning, he's sprawled face first, knocked out cold, because yeah, he's in big trouble with his furious waifu, oof. After that wild, out-of-control party, everything finally lets up and settles down. MC and Yurina are on their way back home when he asks, straight up, if she wants to keep working at her mom's store. And he's totally fine either way, because he just wants her close and smiling. He's basically breathing easier knowing she won't have to put up with those thirsty weirdos gawking at her anymore. They hustle back to their cabin and boom, everything's spotless like nobody's been there at all. Uruza must have cleaned the whole place for them, and wow, what a G. Yurena shoves a letter into his hands from her mom. Basically, my daughter's head over heels for you, so if you make her cry, you won't see tomorrow. Straight up mother-in-law energy. Then she drops the ultimate wingman bomb. She hands Keigo a present. Bro, it's literally snow-white lingerie, straight-up scandal. And mama is the goat. The arena's in full chaos and everyone's acting down horrifically. But our guy is hitting a classic MC wall. He's hesitating right on the edge. She tells him to jump in the shower while she whips up dinner. Yeah, dinner. But my man starts pacing like he's trapped, spiraling into a full-blown anxiety attack, freaking out over what to do. His mind won't stop racing about their future baby and everything that comes with it. Bro, your waifu's right there waiting. Stop spiraling and go already. Then his mind completely snaps. He starts plotting how to fix the world's orphan problem. No, seriously. Just imagine if I teach them to be self-sufficient. He's plotting a full-blown plan to pump life back into the town's economy. My dudes, you've got one job right now, and it's not city planning. If I want to pull this off, I've got to become a legit, dependable businessman. Bro, please. Right when he's lost in his philanthropic daydreams, a sharp cough snaps through the air outside. He leans out and boom, spotlights of light pour in. It's Heinrich. The villain is trapped in a cage, and he's moments away from turning into a human popsicle. So what in the world is happening? That cuddly little fluffball, Ash, isn't sensing a single hint of danger, so Keigo grins and decides to mess with him. He whips up some scorching tea, hands it to Heinrich, and lets his power do the bragging, while the former noble looks so shattered he's basically drooling. And yeah, it's a little evil, not gonna lie. Heinrich drops to his knees begging, please save me, and Keigo just shrugs like, yeah, that's pitiful enough. Right on cue, Irina storms in, and seeing her man sipping tea with her kidnapper. Yeah, she's got zero patience. Later, Keigo lathers him up and drags him into a bath, while Heinrich freaks out, screaming that the water's too hot. What a full-on diva. Keigo spots cruel whip marks on his back and instantly knows this guy has lived through hell, so he tells him to get dressed and crash by the fire. Our boy S like, "It's soon dear, no cap," and then he drops the sweetest good night. Irina knows her man's got a bleeding heart streak. There's no way he'd just let even a villain die. She admits she'll never forgive Heinrich, but she refuses to let Keigo turn into a killer, so she makes him hers. Dude, he's just insanely good, like unreal. The very next day is all about teaching the useless noble how to do chores, and Heinrich is absolutely wrecked, just done for. He mangles chopping wood, can't handle the chickens, and somehow turns everything into a total disaster. So yeah, this rehab is gonna take forever. My guy can't see a damn thing unless those glasses are on his face. Somehow, over the next few days, they pulled off living together day after day. They kick off this wild morning training routine too, like, what is even happening? Marugo storms an itching to end Heinrich right then and there, until Keigo steps in and stops him. Then boom, everything spirals, and somehow they all end up crammed together, knocking back drinks like it was inevitable. Ash hurls a rock straight at Heinrich, because he still doesn't trust this guy one bit. Keigo admits he doesn't really know the guy at all, but somehow it feels like he's finally starting to see what makes him tick. He clings to memories of his old life in Japan, where people spat hate at him for striking it rich. And now he finally sees that Heinrich isn't some cartoon villain. Since landing in this world, he's changed, meeting people, surviving everything, and growing into someone new. Heinrich makes his move. No hesitation, he's out the door, because it's time to chase his dream and become an adventurer. But Keigo, such a total softie, refused to let him walk out empty-handed. He shoves supplies into the cart, calls it an investment, and flat out expects a smooth, quick return. Heinrich hands him his own shack in exchange, and throws in an interesting trade to seal the deal. Looks like he doesn't need it anymore. Everyone calls it goodbye, and Heinrich charges straight into his redemption arc. With the intruders finally gone, our guy wastes no time and dives straight into the things he's been craving. But first, let's get inside his head. He's still no city guy, and he's perfectly happy tucked away on the outskirts. He steps inside, and there's Yorina finished knitting him a sweater. She beams with pride, and it looks insanely good on him. Major wholesome points, bam, pure heartwarming goodness. He clocks that she looks a little lonely now that Heinrich is gone, and somehow it's weirdly sweet. He finally gets it. She needs her friends and family close, so he tells her to just come to town anytime she wants, but this time, it's different. These people aren't just characters, they're real. He leans in and tells her, "I've got a present for you," with pure excitement lighting up his face. He's not just rolling into town, he's opening a store there. "Let's move in together there, right now." She says yes, and the world erupts into hugs, smiles, and pure happiness. After all this time, the boy finally blurts out the L word. And in that moment, he realizes coming to this world somehow rebuilt his faith in humanity again. And for now, they get their happy ending.